Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to FSP Fun Speculation. I can't even speak. Fun Speculation Podcast, episode number 36. Yeah, we've had 36 episodes of this show now, so we're moving on along. And we got a guest. We don't have guests a lot on this show, but we had to make it work. Friday nights don't usually work for this guy, so we had to get him on a show, and I've been wanting to have him on a show of ours for a long time. I've had the privilege of guesting on one or two of their shows. I think twice, maybe three times. Okay, right
Three
on.
times.
Wow, three times. An absolutely awesome group and channel he has going on over there at Save the Game Media, right? Save the Game Media.
Yep, save the game.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it was Project X Talk. That was the first show I went on with you guys. But y'all have grown a lot and doing lots of different things. I actually love what y'all are doing. But want to say what's up to Kevin. How's it going, man?
Doing well. Like I was saying before, I hurt my hand at soccer right now, but I'm
Yeah.
happy to be here. Excited to finally hop on. I know you've had Aman and Tom from Save the Game Media on a few of your shows, but I've never been on, so
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about some interesting news we got tonight.
Yeah. And I think you were the first one I actually reached out to, though.
Yeah,
Kevin.
yeah. I just Friday nights is always a date night with the girlfriend, so it's kind of hard for me to be like,
You
"Sorry, babe,
youngins.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go be on a podcast right now." I don't know if that would fly right
Yeah.
now, so maybe in the future Fridays I'll
I
open up.
I understand. When you get to get the girlfriends involved and stuff like that. That's why we lost 3-bit for almost every show here for like the last year almost. I think. So.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
But it's all right. It's all right. But dude, I do really appreciate you being here, man. And we're gonna have some fun tonight. So, but I would everybody to check out that podcast, that channel, Save the Game Media, because you guys are starting to do a lot of different things and different shows. As y'all got like Marvel stuff you're doing now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know you had started a PlayStation podcast for a while. Y'all still doing that?
Yeah, so we have 4 main shows a week. So we still do Project X Talk live every Thursday. That's our Xbox show. And then we have No Limits, our PlayStation podcast. And we have Frame by Frame, which is a TV and movie focused podcast. A lot of MCU, Star Wars discussions going on. That's led by Aman over there. And then we have a show called I Hate My Friends, where we all just get together and goof around, basically, just do random stuff. But we also have some Patreon exclusive stuff. Some of our patrons have funded us over there, so we got a few Patreon exclusive shows too. But those are our main 4 you can catch every week, and then any spoiler cast reviews that we get go out like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
awesome, man. Well, y'all have grown a lot since I met you guys. You're doing great things, so keep it up.
Yeah, thanks.
But we also have our regular panel here, and everybody showed up today. It's absolutely freaking awesome because we're gonna this is gonna get a little spicy, I think, today. And our DMs have been a little interesting today for sure, and lots of stuff going on Twitterverse and everything regarding gaming news. And there's one specific topic that's been catching everybody by storm right now. But we'll start around and go around the table. What's up, Jasper? How are you?
Doing all right. Just been playing Overwatch and catching up on TV shows. So that's kind of what I've been up to this weekend.
Yeah.
And yeah, trying to avoid all the Twitter crap, but
it's hard to, man. Every time I show up there, and the DMs blowing up too, with a lot of this stuff too, doesn't help really. But sometimes it can be fun. We're gonna try and set things straight tonight about this whole conversation. Had 3-bit. What's up with you, man? How's it going?
Hello, everyone. Okay, this is episode 36. That's crazy. My weekend was mostly just animation stuff, going out of state. But yeah, I'm excited to get into some of these topics. I saw your stream the other day, and for those who didn't see it, you guys should definitely check it out. Mav kind of went through the channel's history a bit and gave thanks to all the supporters who have been somewhat part of our journey. And I've always been really appreciative of the fun speculation community. So definitely go check that out. But yeah, it's good to see everybody. Episode 36. Let's do it.
Yeah, thanks, man. And yeah, we did that stream last night. It was kind of like, hey, let's have a little reflection, take a step back and look at things, right?
Yeah.
We got my daughter's out of school this week, so I got little bit of extra time to kind of mess around with some stuff. And it was a fun stream last night, kind of going through and looking back at stuff. It's crazy. 2 years and 3 months has passed really fast. Absolutely nuts, dude. What's up with you, Fuzz? How's it going, man?
Not too bad, man. Just so happy to be here. I'm part of the Twitter problem because I woke up
you
and chose
did
violence
wake
this
up.
morning.
You did wake up and choose violence. I saw that tweet. I was like, "Whoa, Fuzzy!" And that was regarding like Gran Turismo stuff and Forza
it started
stuff.
with it started with Gran Turismo because I enjoy racing games in general, and I play a lot of Gran Turismo.
You play a lot of Gran
play a lot
Turismo
of
more than anything right now, probably, right?
Yeah, and I hate it when people that only take pictures try and say, "Oh, it's the best thing ever." It's like, really? How about you look at the actual problems and call polyphony out on it as opposed to let's take more pictures because that's not a racing game. I mean, you can do pictures in any game, but we'll get into some more spicy topics later on.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
But man, this is going to be a great show. Welcome here, Kevin. Man, first time podcasting with you. Hey, buckle up. It's going to get bumpy tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. And how about you, Mellow Fellow from Outer Space? Again, back, second week in a row now back at FSP. And so happy to have you as part of everything we do all the time. How are you, bro?
I am feeling fantastic. I was out in the Twitterverse battling idiots all day. And
It's a great way to spend your time.
Oh, dude, it's fantastic. The mental gymnastics that these guys are doing. I'm like, what? I just couldn't. My brain, it hurt. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I started,
I
but
can't
I was
wait.
like, I had to go back in the castle. I couldn't fight out there with.
Yeah, I was playing Rage 2 today because I was like, these idiots. I needed to take out my frustration on some mutants. So. I was having fun.
Nice.
Wow. Well, this is going to be a spicy show. Why so serious? Thanks for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Said, what's up, Mav and Planel? I think you meant to say panel. However, I had to read it that way because that sounds funny. What's up with you? Why so serious? How you doing? Appreciate you and appreciate everybody being here. Awesome chat already. It's up to Deathlord Strong, Tony Grasso, Leonard Herraro, RSJ fan. Again, why so serious? Hey, Save the Game Media. I think I know that guy. Then we also got, let's see here. We got Psychos showing up in the chat. Talos Ray, what's up? What's up? Calorie and Relski. Calorie just ended up saying something in the chat that caught me my attention. No 60 FPS mode in Plague Tale Requiem. Is that real?
I don't know if that's true, and I can't really. I know someone reviewing it for or playing it for IGN, and that's all I can really say about that.
Okay, right. That's interesting. So Colt Eastwood said I guess Calorie's saying Colt confirmed no 60 frames.
Interesting.
But also said they're interesting settings, so not exactly locked at 30 either. Interesting. I was watching some of XNC a little while ago. It was a great show, but I didn't catch that part. So
That smooth 45 frames per second.
45 is becoming a thing lately. Like I think a lot of if you play games on Steam Deck a lot, you actually do 5 frames a lot.
The stick, right? Like the stick won't be able to reach 60. Is that what?
No, we're talking about
What?
Requiem, Plague Tale Requiem.
Oh,
and not having a 60 frame mode. Yeah.
Yeah. But that game moves so slow. Dude, really?
Yeah.
Need 60 frames.
I need 60 frames in everything, dude. I don't know, man. Like,
but it's just like the median. The medium that wasn't 60, and the gameplay was so slow that it didn't really matter that it was not 60.
Yeah. I don't know.
I can't imagine there isn't a 60 FPS mode, even if it has to lower the resolution a bit. Everything I'm seeing says there is. Like a PC, it says 1080 60 FPS on high settings, I think it says. So
I'm just wondering if if the Sobo is trying to push the visuals so much on that game and they have so many damn rats.
It's all the rats.
There's like too many rats. You know,
rat
They said
physics
that
dropping it.
PlayStation 5 is actually gonna have more rats than Xbox, like by like 20,000 or some random shit. Like
really?
that.
They put more rats? What about parody? Huh? What about those parody contracts? Huh? We got to have an equal amount of rats. You got to hold back the amount of rats on the PS5. You know?
Get the DLC, more rats, PS5 exclusive.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a thing.
5,000 more rats.
So what Colt said is no performance mode, word for word. Maybe that's only in the review copy though, too, potentially. Like, here's the thing. Sometimes these games, when they get out early for review, like there's not a day one update patch on those, and sometimes they don't necessarily have everything in the game.
So I'm the person I know playing it says, quote, it's a bit rough pre-launch, but I've had my mouth hit the floor multiple times. So it's definitely not like the version out there is definitely not the
Right.
package
Yeah,
we're
the
gonna
day
be
one
getting.
patch
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah, day one, yeah, for sure.
For
So
retail,
if Colt's playing it, I mean, it'd be I don't know if he is, but maybe he's just playing that pre-release and they haven't hit the performance mode yet.
Mm-hmm. That happens with a lot of games that get like the review copies or the early release copies, like
This
have a
is
lot of problems.
Sobo, right?
It's a Sobo. They're going to push the visuals on this thing. This is
There's
going to be
no
a
way they would.
showpiece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no way they wouldn't, just based on their history of like graphical fidelity and flight sim, and even the last game. I don't think they would do that.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. But before I'd post on Twitter like my 4 most anticipated. That wasn't on my top 4 most anticipated games. I'm gonna play that one anyway, just because it's on Game Pass. But I want to go before we get into the messiness here. I want to go around and get everybody's like top like most anticipated games. I posted mine, and mine were Midnight Suns, Gotham Knights. So Gotham Knights is number 1. The Midnight Suns, Modern Warfare 2, and then what was my 4th one? Jeez, my memory
Apparently wasn't
sucks.
that important.
Need for Speed.
Need for Speed, yes. Thank you, Fuzz. You paid attention. Appreciate you. Yeah, those are my 4 most anticipated. Then also God of War Ragnarok's right there below that, but I need to finish 2018 God of War still. Yeah, I haven't finished it yet because it didn't ever really grab me. Now, the Ragnarok trailer, I was like, wow, that actually looks more varied with the environments and the enemies, and it looked really awesome, like all the different things. Like, and once I saw it at the space stuff and everything, I was like, oh, I'm down on this, right? 100%. But I don't want to play it until I finish 2018, and I'm too hooked on some other stuff right now, and all these other games are coming out, so I'm just like acknowledging that I'm probably not going to get to Ragnarok until next year, right? So I'm just going to put it off a little bit. But I want to go around and, hey, Kevin, since you're the guest, first off, what's you have like a top 4 or so games for this holiday?
So my most anticipated game of the year is the Plague Tale Requiem. I absolutely love Plague Tale Innocence. I got the 100% on Xbox. I got the Platinum on PS5. So I have gone through it with that game. I cannot wait for the sequel next week. God of War Ragnarok, I absolutely love. 2018, that's one of the PlayStation exclusives that I actually vibe with. It's not many of them, but that and Ratchet Clank are really the ones that get me. So I'm excited for Ragnarok. Midnight Suns, I'm so glad that actually is coming out this year. I was really bummed when it got delayed, and then they moved it up. So December is looking good for that. And I know this game's getting a lot of like, I wouldn't say hate, but a lot of criticism is Gotham Knights that's coming out the end of the month. I think it looks fun. Like, I'm gonna play co-op with my brother, but Nightwing, just beat up some baddies in Gotham. Like, that's all I really care about. If they give me a fun experience, I don't need like some groundbreaking narrative.
Do you think people are looking
amazing.
expecting too much from like games? Sometimes they expect every game to be like the next biggest thing ever, like it's gonna completely change the landscape of gaming forever. And sometimes we get like a Far Cry 6, right, which is another Far Cry, or like Gotham Knights, which looks like a multiplayer Gotham or like Arkham game. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really changing the game or whatever out there, but it's just another cool new fun game to play.
My co-hosts tell me that I play bad games because I play a lot of games that probably like rate in the 6s. Like, one of my favorite games this year is Monarch, which is a JRPG that scored like a 63 on Metacritic, and I was like, this game's amazing. I don't even care. Like, as long as the game is good to me, that's all I really care about.
Right.
Like Crossfire X.
No, that game is actual.
That's really bad. That's hot shit with Jasper. Jasper's like the only one that I know that actually thinks that game's good. However, you know what? If you find enjoyment in it, then I guess we found out who they made the game for, right? They made it for Jasper. and that's
I had some good times with that game,
Right.
you know. But I was also like, when that game's trailers came out, I was the only person. I was like, yeah, Crossfire X, and then like it came out, and then I was a little bit more quiet about it. But
well, I was warning you like
he
before.
was.
I was like, for 3-bit, I think you're a little too much on the hype train over this Crossfire game. I don't know if it's going to be everything you think, right?
Like, no.
The marketing was great for it. Those campaign trailers they had put out and stuff, you know.
It's like, how can you mess? It's Remedy.
Yeah, I
You
can't
know?
believe Remedy.
Well,
messed
it's
that
mostly
campaign
Wow.
up.
Smile
How did
code.
that happen?
Remedy did the single player. The issue that I had is the multiplayer, right?
But it should have been the vice versa. Like, Remedy is so good at single player games, so I was like, there's no way they would mess up. And then the multiplayer, I was like, whatever. It's a single player though. And then
yeah.
we see.
Well, the single player is just such a small aspect to that game, right? And we figured out, Remedy just got hired to do a little campaign mode for that game, and it's not a huge thing. The multiplayer is what kept that game being delayed for so long, and that's from the Korean developers.
Really? Because they didn't add anything from the beta to the launch.
I don't know why. It's exactly the same, right? And I said it felt like a mobile game way back then. It was like just ported to a console, and it still felt like that to me. What about you? What about you, though? 3-bit. Give me your top 4 for this holiday. Crossfire X2 on the list.
No, that's far now. I would say Dead Space. Is Dead Space in the other game coming out?
Callisto
around the same-
Protocols this holiday, and
December 2nd,
Dead Space
January,
is January.
January. Yeah.
Oh,
I'll
so
I'll
not-
give you Dead Space though, because January is close enough.
yeah.
If
Callisto
it
and
doesn't
Midnight
get delayed.
Suns are the same
But if I had to
day.
pick, I would say Callisto.
Mm.
But yeah, I would pick Callisto over Dead Space, but that's for another reason. Scorn,
Going to
sure.
2 horror games off the bat. Okay.
yeah. So a lot of the games that was my most anticipated have been delayed, sadly, like Starfield and Redfall.
Yeah.
So these are the games I've been given. Plague Tale. I played more of the original like recently. Like I kind of like skipped out on it for a while. It's like I didn't really get the hype for it. And then like a couple days ago, I started playing that and this other game I was telling them behind the scenes, which is whatever. It's really good. It is really good. I like the team of Sobo. They're very talented. So that and Gotham Knights, same thing with Kevin saying like a lot of people are kind of dishing on this game for being what it is. Like it's a Batman game. It's like an Arkham game. What do you really expect? It to me, like I love Arkham games, and the fact that it looks like an Arkham game means I'm in. Like what else do I need? I don't need it to be super crazy different. The fact that it's Arkham game, like an Arkham game but with co-op.
I will say with Gotham Knights, as of now, there's no crossplay for that game. So if you want to play co-op with friends, make sure they're on the same device as you.
Oh, well, that's nice. But that's all I kind of wanted from the Arkham games in general. Like I wanted an Arkham game with like multiplayer. So it's giving me that plus a little bit more. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for that. Not excited for the price tag, but I am excited for that game for sure.
Right on. What I realized also about my 4, after posting them, was like, damn, each one of these are $70.
Yeah.
I've just accepted it. At this point.
I have 2. It's just like when I think about it, it's like, damn, that sucks. Now, it's like how to go through the list and think, okay, just 4 random games that I'm most excited about. That's how much it's taken a hold on the industry now.
You spent $280.
Is that my 4 random games I realized after the fact were all $70? That means it's like it's just the new reality for sure at this point. What about you, Fuzz? Which games 4 top ones for you for this holiday?
I'm kind of suffering with the same affliction of the $70 bug, but yeah, Callisto Protocol.
Yeah,
because I didn't play the original Dead Space and kind of trust the devs that now started their own studio will possibly do a more interesting take on it. But I'm still going to wind up playing Dead Space when it comes out next year. But looking more forward to Callisto Protocol, Need for Speed Unbound. Because it's a racing game and they're going to have night racing, although Horizon 5 just recently put out word about their 10th anniversary update, so that's going to get some more night racing stuff. But really like the look. Kind of excited to see what that's going to be like as far as from start to finish on the graphic detail and stuff like that. And then what is it? High on Life, because that's
Yeah.
supposed to still be December. So that's my third one. And then there's so many other ones that are like tied for like fourth. Like
Yeah.
God of War is up there, but like you, I haven't finished 2018. There's Gotham Knights, which I'm more interested in, even though it's not exactly like the Arkham combat. I do like some of the skill tree stuff that they have, the range stuff that you could do with Red Hood and stuff like that. So looking forward to it. I know there's another game that's on my list, and I can't remember the name of it, but those are the main ones that come to mind for like right now.
Right on.
Then I'm probably going to pick up day one, but originally I was kind of like $70 for Callisto, 20 hours worth. I mean, the 20-hour time frame is great, kind of like the speed I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But for 70,
They said there's like
probably
these
wind up biting the bullet.
replayable like branching paths and stuff like that
Yeah.
in Callisto as well. I think that should add to the gameplay for you.
Yeah, definitely. But those are my most anticipated, at least till the end of the year.
Right on. And you do the math on that though. 4 games, it's $280, right?
High on Life's probably going to be 70. It's probably going to be like 40, 50.
And that's gonna be
in Game Pass.
That's in Game Pass too, right? So is Plague Tale. So that's man, Game Pass is awesome. Saves us money, right? Psycho, what about you, man? I know you got like some highly anticipated games for this holiday.
Oh yeah. High on Life is one of them. Scorn is another. I'm debating on if I should get Gotham Knights or should hold off. So I know I want to get close to Protocol because that just looks gruesome as hell.
Yeah.
And what's another one that comes out?
Plague Tale.
Yeah, and Plague Tale. That was the other one.
Yeah, I remember you telling me you
others.
were really looking forward to that.
Yeah, because I almost finished the freaking. I was on the I think the last couple levels I had to finish, and I just didn't get to it when it was still on Game Pass.
Yeah.
But I want to play this, and it just looks so freaking good.
Speaking of Plague Tale, Pong had just shared at somebody's post. I'm trying to click on it, but it's not working. Somebody's post on Twitter in our group here. Shout out to the FPS review who posted the PC requirements for Plague Tale Requiem. And this is pretty beastly. So it says Plague Tale Requiem gets demanding PC system requirements. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070 or AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT recommended for 60 frames at 1080.
3070 at 1080.
Ultra settings. Yeah.
Wow.
3070 at 1080 60 with ultra settings. That is, they're like that game is going to be freaking insanely gorgeous, I bet.
Well, with Ultra, I'm assuming that they probably have anti-aliasing turned up to like 16 times, and that's going to tank your fucking frames. So if you turn that down to 8, you'll get it back up to probably about 80 FPS.
Okay.
So there's settings you can
probably
turn
have ray
down to still
tracing
make
and
it
stuff
look
on, I'm sure as well. Ray tracing is so taxing. That's why I don't like whenever somebody's like, "Hey, we're gonna get ray tracing on these games." Like, I don't care right now.
I don't care about ray tracing either.
I just want frame rate. I don't care if my reflection is a little bit more in a puddle. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. I want to move smoothly through the level and environment, and I would rather not move like this and have a bad reflection. I don't really care. I know it's more than just reflections, but it's like reflecting on itself. I never noticed that stuff. It makes great detail and enhanced visuals, but not at the cost of my frame rate. Come on now. You know what I mean? Like 1440, 60 frames with ray tracing, gorgeous, right? I'll take that all the time, but not at the expense of 60 versus 30 frames.
games like this is where it's raising the minimum spec is how we're gonna keep pushing the envelope of graphic fidelity forward. Like I always
so
say,
we got to go out and buy a $1,600 4090 graphics card.
or just get a Series X. I always just say like the PC is always the lowest common denominator in a lot of cases where a lot of the minimum specs for games are more common, weaker cards. So with games like this or games that sort of push that minimum spec forward, that's where we're gonna start seeing even better looking games. I'm sure that this game this game is gonna look insanely gorgeous. I'm hoping that they optimize it enough for consoles that it's has 60 as a forefront for sure. Because I'm right with Mav where like
Should be the standard now. Like
I mean, you
they
don't
should,
have to
should
have
be the standard.
ultra graphics to get 60 FPS on console. You can turn that down a bit, maybe like
Yeah.
high.
medium, high, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fine.
Based off the history, I'm sure they'll have an option. I mean, they were able to get the whole world running, like literally the entire Earth playing on your console.
I think there needs to be like a council meeting between all the like the gaming executives and just like they just decide to outlaw 30 frames. You know,
Man,
no longer allow, just default 60. We scale the games from there visually and like resolution, all that stuff. 60 lock or more. Everything else is secondary. That's my personal opinion.
If it really isn't 60 on consoles and there's no like performance, I would like to see them do what like Insomniac has done with their games, where you have the like 40 FPS if you got the 120 hertz screen with like variable refresh rate, and it can like go up and down between there. So dynamic resolution. So I would like to see something like that, and I think Asobo could pull that off pretty easily. I mean, they're very talented.
Yeah, I've noticed a big difference with that tech because my monitor has AMD FreeSync on it, which I don't really know how that works. But I notice like games that have had little frame rate issues or stuttering and stuff, I don't notice it on this thing. So it like takes care of a lot of that stuff. So, but anyway, the technology is going to keep getting better and better. I just want them to put the priorities where it matters the most. We were DMing about Starfield a little while ago, Psycho. Like I'm personally still worried that's gonna only have a 30 frames mode in it. I need that to be 60 frames, but we'll see.
yeah, I hope that
I
game
think it will.
60. I'm not too confident in Bethesda's optimization. I mean, I've said this on multiple.
Well, they have the creation mods, and there's usually community members always make.
Usually the community is
mods,
what
60
fixes it.
FPS mods. Yeah.
Like if Bethesda doesn't do it, the community will in some way. Like
there's a lot of those mods make it to PC first though, and if it's a frame rate mod, would that go onto console?
There's frame rate mods on Xbox for Fallout and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
it lowers the resolution, but it turns it up to 60 FPS. That was before they had the FPS boost. Now you don't need those, but
yeah, like I've never been super confident in Bethesda's optimization chart. Like I'm really just there for the amazing experiences that they offer, like the amazing stories and stuff like that. I really hope that they have 60 like going forward. Like Mav says, I wish I was in those board meetings where I'm just like, you stamp now on all games 60 for sure. Ray tracing, like I'm a tech person. Like a lot of my points of views comes across for my love of tech, animation, stuff like that. So I'm always going to want games to push that forward a little bit in some way from what I know is actually possible based on like showcases and things like that. But so I want all that ray trace. I want that shiny puddle that you see maybe for like 5 seconds. I want all that.
Do you want it at the expense of making the whole game worse though?
I think there's a way to do both. It's a lot harder.
It's a lot harder.
I think it's
that's where like, DLSS comes in.
Yeah, that's where those technologies.
Well, we've been hearing about this FSR and DLSS and all this stuff for like years, man. It's like where it hasn't made a difference for me too much yet. You know what I mean?
Well, there hasn't been
it's mostly on a PC thing,
right?
It's mostly on a PC thing, and there hasn't really been that game yet. I mean, a lot of games for Xbox hasn't come out yet. to be honest.
Is it engine specific where they can utilize that stuff?
No.
Or it can
NVIDIA
be
is
just
DLSS
blank slate?
technology. AMD's
Right.
FSR technology.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, definitely.
FSR is software. Yeah, Deathloop is 2.0 FSR.
Yeah,
Right.
So
I
think
saw
that's-
Modern Warfare 2 has like a FSR slider, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's slowly coming. It's slowly
Farming Simulator 2022 has FSR 2.1. They're the very first game that utilized that for console.
And Nintendo's or not Nintendo, Intel is
was like,
coming out with Intel's coming out with their own version of it because they're going to launch their first generation GPUs this month with XESS. It's pretty much DLSS, but Intel's version of it, and they're doing it a little bit different than NVIDIA and AMD. So
Right.
we'll see
Anyway,
how games adopt that.
just like 60 frames. I'm spoiled now. I'm a baby when it comes to that stuff. Like I can't when I start playing a game at 30 frames, it just feels bad. You know.
No, I agree. Every time I see a 30 frames game, I'm like, okay, I'll just wait. Like I'll turn the game off. I'm like, I'll wait for an update. Like it's gotten that bad. I've gotten so spoiled to the point where I just like I won't play a 30 frames game. Like I don't know. I just can't do it anymore. Like once I seen what the Series X, like once I got the Series X, because I went from the Xbox One, the original Xbox One to the Series X. So it was a very big leap for me. I didn't go for the Xbox One X. It was just the original Xbox One VCR type box
Same.
thing. And then went to the Series X. So to me, like it was a huge leap, and I never want to go back. Not even an inkling. So I want to see 60 4K with every game if possible.
Yeah.
But I know certain developers are going to have their vision for what they want to push. Like I'm sure if they are just pushing 30 frames 4K, they really are pushing a narrative of graphical fidelity and story and things like that.
It also
But
depends on the game. Like for shooters, you obviously want that, but if it's just like a Telltale game, it might be all right just to run 30 because you're not doing much.
yeah, you're walking around, maybe killing some guards, hiding, using your rats and stuff like
You
that.
don't have to have like it's quick movements and stuff.
Yeah.
You're watching it more. So,
But still, no excuse. I still want six. Don't let.
but those games should run at like 120.
I still want my 60 though.
Yeah, I mean, with the like with at least with Deathloop, it's a graphical difference between PS5 and Series X because of FSR.
I find a lot of graphical things misleading for a lot of cases. Like they'll do usually I'll see like on multiple channels, not just Digital Foundry. Multiple channels will have like PlayStation doing like 60 frames, Xbox doing 60 frames, at the cost of like lower resolution on those. Now, when you're playing the game, you won't see too much of a difference. But for the most part, I feel like I can tell. I know Kevin, you want to jump in, but what do you?
Yeah, I love when it's like, oh, this resolution is like 1860p, and I was like, that isn't that isn't a resolution that anyone's gonna pick up on. Like, we can tell the difference between certain resolutions, but when you're listing, oh, in the PS5 version 1687p and the Xbox is 1860, I'm like, nobody cares. Like,
Yeah, for sure. But what I mostly see, I guess, from usually fanboys, not really people who are like either way, when you're playing the game, you're experiencing, you have a good time as long as the frame rate's good. If it has those different options of FSR and stuff, it'll like help mitigate that. Like, because let's be honest, if you're playing like a game like Deathloop and you're just like sort of just like shooting people and everything, you're not going to see that little blurry thing way in the distance. Where I mostly see is the fanboys who kind of just go into the thing like, look, PS5 is running better, but fail to announce that they're running at a lower resolution. So I'm just like saying like, hey, either way, let's be honest about it.
I think 60 is the magic number. 60 frames, $60. Let's go. That's what it should be, right?
It's 60 for everyone.
1 frame per dollar. Let's go. Let's do it. Hey, I didn't even anticipate talking about this, but thanks to Calorie for bringing that up. It was that's an interesting conversation there. I wasn't aware of that, but I'm sure that's gonna be an awesome game regardless, and something everybody will be able to try if you have Game Pass, which is actually our next topic. Game Pass, is it profitable? This is like for some reason I don't know. Like it came out that I guess Game Pass revenue was at $2.9 billion in 2021 or something like that, right? So now people are like saying, wow, it's a lot of money, and they got to be profitable at that, right? Or whatever, and all this stuff. And it's like, cool, yeah, I'm sure they're making money, you know, otherwise they wouldn't be doing this. But it's created this big debate on, is Game Pass profitable? And this brought back this whole talk of, is Game Pass sustainable? Game Pass is losing money. They're gonna kill off Game Pass and drop it like a bad habit eventually, because that's what Microsoft does and all this stuff. And holy crap, guys, this has been absolutely insane. And Colt Eastwood even posted a thing talking about, like, you know, hey, you know, 2.9 billion, they got to be profitable at that, right? And then some moron doesn't even quote tweet, but like snaps a picture and then posts that and says, oh, this is just conjecture, this is misinformation, all this stuff. It's just stupid stuff going on around the internet, around Twitter and stuff. And it's like, wow. The reality is, and I just got to say this, there's actually not a answer to this question. If you say, let me explain, right?
Well, Microsoft knows, but
no, Microsoft doesn't even know. Because there's not an actual 100% way to quantify this. There's only one way to quantify it. Okay, so
if you count the money that's like based on subscriptions and not count like other income like in games, then you could count it as profitable or not. But
yeah, but that's not all it is, because
I know I'm just saying, but that's the only way that you could, if you want to like get it to bottom line dollar, like
that's
how much money we're making on subscriptions and how much are we losing.
The statement isn't, is Game Pass profitable? Is it sustainable? And sustainable doesn't have, like, at what value do we put sustainable? Because it's Microsoft, they can sustain anything they want to.
Right. Yeah. So if Microsoft was dumb enough to go into a business where their only benefit is like how much money are we making on subscriptions versus how much money is going out for the Game Pass deal, that's not what this is all about, right? That's not why they're doing this. They're obviously doing it to grow subscribers and bring people into the Xbox ecosystem, right? Their ultimate goal is to get subscribers. But the only thing to weigh that against is not just what's going out for Game Pass. And that's not the only thing coming in either, is the subscriber revenue. Phil Spencer said before, Game Pass subscribers spend more money than anybody in the Xbox ecosystem, right? Okay, so we know that as a fact because that's coming from Microsoft themselves, okay? We also know that the last time they were at 25 million or so, the revenue that was posted out there before was from 2021 when they actually had less subs. So you're talking about 2.9 billion. It'd be even higher. And that number, everybody, is going up consistently. That 2.9 million is going to turn into more and more. A billion is going to turn into more and more and more and more. Okay. This is without the onslaught of first party titles entering into the ecosystem. So you also have to take that into account. Now, also what people aren't considering, yes, internal game development also is a cost because those games are also going into Game Pass, right? So let's say you have like 30 games in development for Xbox, right? I saw Colt post that. He said like 30 games would be, even if you spent like 100 million on each game, that's still like $3 billion or whatever, right? So you have that, right? Then you have all the games that they do deals for, okay? Now, what they can't quantify, and let me explain this because like there's some that don't just understand this fact, okay? There are people spending money on the games that are in Game Pass. There are people buying the games that are in Game Pass. There are people that will actually spend money in the transactions on the games that are in Game Pass. A lot of the games that like Halo Infinite or other games, or like, let's say Forza Horizon 5, for example, lots of games have lots of things to purchase, right? That are in the game. Sea of Thieves. So many games have a lot of things, and those make a lot of money. And guess what? A lot of users.
I don't think you put that in the Game Pass revenue, though.
But are they making
that in the over?
Yes,
I think you just put that in the overall.
Are they
Xbox
making more?
Pool, not the Game Pass.
Are they making more money in revenue because those games are in Game Pass?
Yes, but I don't think
See?
you add that to
Okay.
the Game Pass
No,
pool, though.
you can't-
You're combining both of them. I think.
But
you have to put
my
that in
point
the
is,
Xbox
but that's
revenue
exactly my point. There's no way to quantify it because that's more important than just what's outgoing versus what's incoming in revenue. There's no direct way to answer this question. The only answer to this question is Xbox profitable and is Xbox growing? And that's what Phil Spencer said himself. I'm going to go read a quote from Phil Spencer. Okay. This was last year when he was asked directly by Ryan McCaffrey if Game Pass is profitable. Okay. And this is like, everybody misses this. I do not understand how people not realize it's more than just outgoing versus incoming for Xbox with Game Pass. It's not a like, is it sustainable because of this or because of that? It's sustainable because it's growing Xbox, and Xbox is making more money because of Game Pass. If they have a lot of outgoing, yeah, sure. And who knows exactly how much. But we don't know how much they have coming in either because of Game Pass. We only know the amount directly related to the subscriber count. And that's not it. It's just like we don't know exactly how much is going out. So there's no way, like, for example, business-wise, let's say I do a marketing deal with the company, right? Or I spend money on an ad, or I spend money on something, do a giveaway or whatever. I know what my cost is there, but I don't have an exact number on return on investment because who knows how those ads did, how many people brought them to us, and all these different things. Game Pass is the best marketing tool Xbox has ever had, bar none. Is it an expensive marketing tool? Yes, but you cannot quantify 100% the return on investment. There's absolutely no way to do it whatsoever. So the question is Game Pass profitable? The answer is it doesn't fucking matter because Xbox is profitable, right? And if Xbox is growing, then that's all that matters, bar none.
I mean, I think I kind of want to bring up.
But I don't think Microsoft puts. I think they only count subscription dollars in their revenue pool. I don't think they count anything else in that.
And the answer to that question and the number, the 2.9 billion, that's only subscription revenue.
Yeah, so I don't. That's why I'm saying I don't think you should put like Xbox DLC purchases in that revenue pool.
But why? Because it's growing. But people are spending more money on Xbox.
Microsoft doesn't count that.
They have to.
They count that in the overall pool, but if we're only talking about the 2.9,
so let me go to this
thing,
let me tell you
subscription sales.
Let me tell you exactly why they count this, right? So let me show you.
I'm saying they do count the DLC sales, but you shouldn't put that with the Game Pass sales.
They know
Microsoft
it's because
doesn't count.
They know it's because of Game Pass.
I know they know that, but you can't put that in there if they're not putting it.
I'm not. It's not in the 2.9 billion, but I'm saying it's directly related. But there's no way to quantify it. You know, you can't quantify it. There's no way to directly quantify it, right? Like it's just impossible to.
I think you're adding stuff to this equation that doesn't need to be in there.
No, Phil Spencer did. Let me tell you this quote from Phil Spencer, and it ended in a question that was asked directly from Ryan McCaffrey. He said, "Is Game Pass profitable?" There's nothing about review scores. There's nothing about retail sales of consoles, retail sales of games. The number one sign that our platform is healthy and growing is actually engagement on the platform from players. And that is what Game Pass is growing. So our business continues to grow and be profitable at Xbox. And we are proud of that. Game Pass is growing the Xbox ecosystem. And that's how they're looking at it. It doesn't matter how much money they spend going out for third-party deals and how
I mean, people like to section it off because that's a way for people to fit a narrative that one day, if it's not successful, then they're like, "Haha, see, I told you," and they could shut it down theoretically. It's more about the theoreticals than like people are so worried about the value. Or people are not worried enough about the value proposition of Game Pass. Like for me, all I care is about is what I'm getting for my dollar. A lot of people are seeing it from the financial side, like as if they are hired by Microsoft or Sony to see like, oh, look, it's not as profitable. Like, what do you care if you're a gamer and you are getting a good deal on these games? What does it matter whether or not it's profitable or not? I think a lot of people on Twitter, I really want to call some people out. I won't yet maybe I will by the end of the show. But a lot of these content creators, mostly PlayStation based, what they're saying is that because they've been pushing this narrative for a long time, for since Game Pass has basically been out, it's kind of discrediting basically the work of what Game Pass is. A lot of content creators have been saying like Game Pass is not profitable, and that's their version of Game Pass not being good. They're like, oh, it's not profitable, so I don't like it. To me, that makes no sense. Like I just want to have a good deal. I just want the good games. But to a lot of people who are on there, they've been pushing this narrative for so long that Game Pass is not profitable. They're not making a profit. Like what does that even matter? And I kind of want to bring up Colt Eastwood's post because it does bring sort of a limelight to how much Game Pass, just what Mav is sort of talking about, just base subscription sales. Holt basically said 3 to 2 billion, whatever, is $3,000 million. A AAA game costs $100 million. Game Pass revenue alone can pay for development of 30 AAA games every single year. And like at that point, who cares if it's profitable or not? It's sustainable for Xbox. It's growing their ecosystem, and it's becoming sort of a you could think about it like a graph, like arrows that sort of like the recycling bin. It's sort of like going into Xbox itself, and it's helping Xbox as a whole grow. So Xbox Game Pass and Xbox, they're connected, and it's helping different studios do what they want to do, and it's why so many different developers are praising it, because they're giving people an audience that normally people would have probably never even touched their game. So in itself, it's beneficial for the developers playing or people are jumping into their game where they probably never would have, and it's beneficial for the customer because you're getting games that are $70 typically to $60 for a subscription price, like $15 a month, whatever if you have Ultimate, $1 if you're new, right? So to me, like as a gamer, I mean, I'm an animator in the industry as well, but as a gamer, all I care about is the value. All I care about is like, what am I getting for $15 a month? Wow, I'm getting a brand new $70 game. Cool. Then that's where it ends for me. But for a lot of these other people, they're like, but is it sustainable? Like, well, what would happen if it's not making a profit? Like, how, does that affect you?
Twitter's been losing a profit for 15 years.
Yeah, the sad thing is that's not even the only narrative that is out there about Game Pass. If it's not the is it sustainable one, it's the well, you don't really own your games. Like I like to own my games. You're not, or you got to support the devs. Game Pass doesn't support the devs, which is factually inaccurate because the developers get paid off. Like go on Mike Rose's from No More Robots Twitter feed, and all he's doing is praising Game Pass. Like the amount of, especially indie developers that come out and praise Game Pass. Like developers like Game Pass. I'm sorry that it doesn't fit perfectly into the narrative that a lot of the community seems to want to spin, but I just don't understand why anyone cares. Like 3Bits over there saying, I'm getting so much value. The amount, like I did the math last year, I saved thousands of dollars playing games on Game Pass. So I just don't understand why anyone is so concerned whether Microsoft, the largest company in the world, can sustain it.
It doesn't make any damn sense. I see this constantly, and it's like anytime Game Pass is brought up, it's just like this constant like feed of just bullshit below it, you know, of like everybody, well, I don't want. And another thing is people assume that it's just bad games in there too. Also, I see that narrative also. Game Pass fodder, Game Pass trash, you know, Game Pass this, Game Pass that. And the bottom line is Xbox wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't to grow the business, right? And they're seeing a lot of success with it, right? The $2.9 billion, do I know directly if the outgoing spent on third-party deals and first-party games is more or less than that? I don't know, right? However, there's much more complicated than that to tell if it's working for Xbox and if it's making Xbox more money than it's costing them. And ultimately, that's what they care about at the end of the day in the long run. Now, also, sometimes you spend money to make money later, right? And this is a very common business thing. You know, you got to spend money to make money, right? So when they started Game Pass, they were probably losing more out their ass to begin with, right? Then when they started getting the 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, now 25 plus million subscribers, right? And guess what? Again, that number is going up and up and up. And the more subscribers you have, the more money they have. What was there? What was that? My ear's wet
Sneeze.
all of a sudden. Sorry.
You got me excited.
But there's no direct answer to this question. Because it's so convoluted and there's so many ways of looking at this that you can't actually even answer that. Only way is what Phil said, is engagement. Is it growing? And are people spending more in Xbox with Game Pass than without? And the answer to that question is yes. Right? So
I'm just looking at it like the aspect of like how the bookkeeper would do it. It's like, we have 20 million subs. They each pay $10. This is how much money we're making.
Yeah.
This is how much money. That's how the bookkeeper is going to look at it. The bookkeeper's not going to be like, well, we got $50 million in DLC. Let's throw that in the Game Pass pool. Like, they're not going to do that.
It's more, you can't even do it that way though, Jasper. That's what I'm saying. Like, so I handle books and run a lot of things for a business for almost 20 years now, right? Like, we do multi-million dollars in sales and things like that. And there's a lot of times money outgoes to different things, and you can't really calculate how everything comes back in properly, right? Because you spend a lot of money on these different things, and there's different ways you can try and track stuff, right?
That's why they have the other tab. I'm saying they'll have like another section in their books where they put like, this is other money,
right? So you're looking at that, but if the people that are trying to like downplay Game Pass are only looking at that perspective, then that's a really ignorant take. Because obviously there's more to it than that. That's what I'm getting at. Like, you have a lot of money coming in.
You have to look at it like, you have to look at it as like the overall Xbox side of it, and then you have to break down each section of Xbox. You say Game Pass makes up 10% of our revenue at Xbox. DLC makes up 25% of our revenue at Xbox. I think you have to look at it like that. And then you break down, if you want to break it down even more, then you go to Game Pass.
Do you know how much more DLC you sold because those games were in Game Pass?
I don't think that matters as long as you put that in other tab.
I think it does matter though, because here's why. Because if you put a game like Chivalry 2 to take Game Pass, right? It's a third-party deal. They obviously spent at least $1 million on that, probably. If they spent $600,000 on Cooking Simulator 2, they had to spend more than $1 million on Chivalry, I would think, right? So they put that in there. Chivalry devs automatically put out there that, hey, we've already seen 500K plus new players playing Chivalry, right? So I'm guessing there's probably some form of in-game monetization in Chivalry. I don't know, but I'm using Chivalry as an example. If it wasn't Chivalry and there's another game that has in-game monetization, same thing applies, right? Mm-hmm. Now, those 500K people that just discovered Chivalry for the very first time, how much money did they spend in Chivalry when playing it now? Did they buy a season pass type thing? Did they get in-game cosmetics? Did they get content? Whatever money Xbox spent on getting that game in there, obviously they're getting money back also on the storefront purchases, right? So it all plays a factor. There's another factor that you can't quantify that Game Pass benefits. The amount of people that save money, like we just talked about on Plague Tale Requiem, High on Life, games like the Scorn, right? We're looking forward to. That was $200 almost that you saved out of your pocket. Okay. Now, are you going to potentially spend that somewhere else because Game Pass users, again, are the ones that spend the most money on games? Potentially. You can't quantify that either. There's no way to, right?
I mean, it's the reason why they're laying down these foundations of having this many studios, so that way they could just basically pay themselves.
Right.
They have so many studios now, and at some point they're just going to have a bunch of AAA games like every year, and then they own those studios. They don't need to really make deals with studios they own, right? So
yeah,
At some point, it's just gonna be that recycling bin logo of just basically putting games into Game Pass and funding themselves. And I think that's their goal, is not to have as much third party deals, to just have that in house. So that way they can just lay the foundation and own it.
Yeah,
own everything they do. Yeah.
I just think the whole question that people are posting out there is too simplistic. You know, because it's more about, it's not just Game Pass. Is Game Pass sustainable? It's like, is Xbox sustainable because they're doing Game Pass? That's the real question. Can Xbox continue to do Game Pass?
Yeah.
The answer to that question is yes, obviously, because guess what? They're making money and they're profitable.
That's why I'm saying, like, I think when people look at the Game Pass thing, they don't take into a fact that it's Xbox as a whole. You have to, like, if you're going to just only look at Game Pass, you have to only look at Game Pass. You can't add the Xbox stuff to it. But if you want to talk about the total profit of Xbox, then you have to bring in everything. It's like, I don't
right.
know.
Well, and that's why the financials and the revenue stuff is out there, and they break it into services, right? And last time they were down on hardware, but they're up on services. They said that services helped because the hardware was down, and vice versa, right? They go into all this stuff, but they don't like tell us how many Chivalry 2 people bought microtransactions when it was in Game Pass, right? And there's no way. Like, we and even for them to track that kind of stuff, they can try, but you still can't quantify everything. So directly right now, there's no answer, but I can tell you one damn thing for sure. If it's not right now directly, even just subscriber revenue for versus outgoing, it will be, because the subscriber count's going up, right? And that's all that matters.
Well, depending on how much more they invest. If they invest into other projects, then they could outweigh that too.
Well, then that's so good for the gamers,
Yeah.
right? Because the more incoming, the more outgoing, and like we all win with that situation. Psycho, is it like something like, I know you've been battling a lot about this on Twitter. Like, what do you think the number one argument is that people, is there a valid argument to be had there against Game Pass?
No, not really. I mean, I don't get it. Like, I don't know, man. Where do I begin? They try to go out here and drive a narrative that is ridiculous, that is false and nowhere near truthful, and try to pass it off and fearmonger people that are not well educated in what's going on. So they're like, oh, he must be telling the truth. And then those people then start replying and spewing regurgitate the false narrative that Game Pass is not sustainable and it's hemorrhaging money for Microsoft and all this stupid.
I mean, how many times these goalposts have to move with a lot of these different narratives? Like, there's
every day. There's they change it to fit their narrative, and then
They're
when
like,
that
okay, next
narrative, I mean, there was a dude in one of the tweets, fucking shut this guy down with facts and common sense, and it was the first time I ever saw this guy really shut the fuck up. This is the first time, and it was quite amazing to see that, and then the little buddies come in, and then they try to say that, oh well, the Xbox all access is padding for Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, I saw that, dude. That's crazy. Like somebody's talking about Xbox All Access is like,
who the fuck even guy has that?
There may be a couple million. I don't know, but
they come up with another scenario because they know it's like, at the end of the day, who cares? Like, get your money, get value for what you have.
It's still a Game Pass
like
subscriber too. It's like, what does it matter how they got it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird.
If you're doing Wii Sports, it kind of does matter. Because they just bundled that shit in with the Wii, and they got this number one selling game.
Well, that's the PlayStation tactic too, though, right? You know.
Well, that was my tweet. It was that, you know, we see the conjecture with the Horizon Forbidden West when they add the game bundled to the console. The only way to get the console is a Horizon bundle, and that pads the numbers. So when they say, "Oh, this game done sold this many units. Well, it's not. I mean, it's they're adding on that whole conjecture that one person was saying, and then that's why the guy said that, oh well, all access. But all access is not the only way to get an Xbox. There's a difference. Xbox is one avenue to get a Series X or S if you want to do the all access plan, or you can go to a store and buy it outright.
Yeah, I mean,
Sony
there's a bunch of
doesn't
different.
have that option. It's only bundled. You can only buy in the United States right now Horizon bundled for $550, or the Modern Warfare bundle that's coming out, I think, is $560.
Mhm.
And that's the only two bundles. The only way you can get a Series S, or a PS5. That's the only way to get a PS5. I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
that
I
is
mean,
freaking crazy.
just kind of move up to the next narrative. I mean, the narrative you hear besides like Game Pass isn't profitable is that you're just renting games, right? You're not owning the games. So therefore, in some weird way that loses the value of what you're getting. To me, again, the mental gymnastics some of these narratives have is insane to me. 'Cause
There's
it's like,
one answer to that question, 3-bit. Okay, buy the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Game Pass
Buy the
isn't
game.
taking you.
And-
That's the beauty of it. They
and-
don't take away
and
the
if you have
ability for you to
Game
do that.
you get a discount on those games that you apparently
Yeah.
a lot of these PlayStation fanatics are millionaires at this point to say like, hey, just buy every game. I'm not buying.
No, I've
every-
heard that. I've seen that conversation bragging about how much money they make and they can afford to play the premium. You know what I
Gotta
mean?
buy the digital deluxe edition too, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, you know,
Extra.
listen, I don't care if I ever. You telling me every game can go in Game Pass and I never own another game? Sounds great. I don't need to own them. I just want to play them.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the difference exactly? Like,
But
I
you're
move
hurting
on.
the
You know.
gaming industry, Kevin, by doing that.
I'm
Well,
murdering
here's-
it, in fact, by
You're-
letting Microsoft pay them to make the games and then taking away the risk of maybe their game flopping because the freaking store is filled with a bunch of shovelware garbage and you can't find actual indie games.
Or because
But also
I care about the devs. Like I'm telling you, these are narratives people. I care about the devs, so therefore, I can't support Game Pass. But
most
even
games
though there's
also
a bunch of
now
devs
have
that say Game
like an
Pass,
online connection requirement to even start the game. So like even if
Yeah.
you don't own it, like if that goes away, like you still can't play it in the
Babylon's
future.
Fall. You buy it.
Yeah.
I would have. Hey, people be begging the fuck that if they bought Babylon's Fall that had been in Game Pass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It might even actually still be around. They
No,
might have actually
player base.
succeeded.
Well, here's the thing that's funny to me. They only apply this to Microsoft because it's one of those most hated companies out there. But can you imagine the I guess the mental gymnastics they would have to do to apply this to the auto market? Like me being a car enthusiast, I always look at it as, okay, I bought my F-150 for 10 grand under the MSRP out the door. Oh, I guess I don't support the dealership. Oh, well, there's going to be a whole line of people complaining about, well, you undercut them, and now that dealership could go out of business. I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
I
You
care
did
about
get the
getting the
heated
truck off
seats
the lot.
option or
When you
the
start-
subscription service for the heated seats. So now they're going out of business, Fuzzy.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait,
When you start
hold.
applying that to other
Am I
industries-
screwing my dealership by leasing my car? Should I?
Yeah, because
should I
you're
call them up
you're
right
not
now?
owning it. You should own your car. I mean, everybody's situation is different. Like leasing a car in some cases is a way to go because you could probably sell it before you have to turn the thing back in, especially if you're over mileage, and make a profit. Like BMW owners do that all the time. Well, I won't say they do it all the time, but when I owned a BMW, it was one of the things you do. You lease the car for 2 years. You might be 2,000 miles over and you don't want to pay the markup, but you could sell it to somebody outright and then give the dealership the difference and hopefully still have what you put down when you got the car on lease in your pocket, if not more, to put towards your next lease car. Or if you want to decide to buy one now you have that same cash to go in there with. So I'm just amazed at people that will be, I guess, arguing over someone saving money. Like I've never seen anybody in a grocery store look at the old lady with the coupons and be like, "You should pay full price."
Yeah. When you
Really?
apply that to other mediums, Fuzzy, like when you apply those same arguments that people are like, "Oh, you're just renting games, therefore you're hurting devs." When you start like applying those arguments to other industries, you realize how stupid they sound. Like,
Yeah.
Here's a great example, right?
Well, the thing is, Tesla kind of had that. They were like the most profitable like car company in America, but they produced the least amount of cars.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's an example of that 3-bit. Right. So McDonald's, like a couple of years ago, started making all sodas of all sizes $1 at our drive-through. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't go through the drive-through when I found out, hey, I only have to pay $1 for a large soda, and be like, hey, McDonald's, I got to tell you something. I don't know if this is sustainable, what you're doing right now. You know what I mean? I appreciate the sentiment, but I think you're trying to take over the fast food industry by giving me a Coke for $1. And you know what? I'm not going to buy your Coke anymore because you know what? It's you're just giving me too much value here. I'm disliking it. You're going to ruin the industry. McDonald's probably already actually did ruin the industry. However, this is a bad example. But stop charging me $1 for a soda. I want to pay the $2.89 for that Coke.
Unless I'm working for McDonald's or Coca-Cola, then I would maybe have some say. Like maybe I'm handling the financials. If I'm just a customer, I'm not going to worry about getting a large Coke for $1 or whatever other sodas is in this establishment. I'm gonna be like, cool, I got a huge Coke for $1, and then I'm gonna go home and I'm drinking.
If you can go down the street and get a $2 Coke, it's gonna be better because you paid more.
They were getting out of hand though, man. Like I was trying to get a small when my daughter was like 4. You know what I mean? And then they hand me a fucking large. I'm like, no, look at her. I'm not gonna give her a fucking large. Like, give me a small. Like I
want a large,
they're just
sir.
like, we're just giving soda out like shit right now. Here you go. Fucking pretty large sodas for everybody. Only $1. You know, like I just had ordered a small, please. You know, it's like, do you only have large cups now, McDonald's? What happened? I don't understand.
Well, they got rid of the $1 Cokes.
No, they still have $1 Cokes at ours.
Oh,
out
not
my
mine.
way, they got rid of it real quick because people would just bring a cup back, go in the store, and get free refills, and they were like, "That's not included." But yeah, it's just weird to me that somebody is worrying about sustainability. I mean, I'm even a shareholder, a decent sized shareholder of Microsoft shares. As long as the overall turns a profit, I don't care what the small stuff does. All businesses, in the grand scheme of things, all businesses have a loss leader to get your customers' foot in the door. And then once they're there, you try to lock them into the ecosystem, or you don't necessarily lock them in the store. That's illegal. But you at least get them to hopefully spend more money on other things. Like you put that interesting cheap item that you advertise in the back of the store, and they have to go through the entire store seeing all the other things. It's like, oh, you know what? I do need, extra cables or a TV stand or something to go along with this TV that you had on Black Friday clearance or whatever. Or the same thing with the milk at the back of the grocery store. Yeah, I was the wife only told me to pick up milk, but yeah, we need bread, we need eggs. Might as well get some chips while I'm here and whatnot. So I don't see why people even worry about it. Like I could see if it's one of those things like if Game Pass fails, all of gaming goes away. That's not going to happen. Stadia just is closing doors, but gaming is still continuing and still living on. We had the crash in the 80s and gaming is still here. So why do you care? If it's the platform you hate so much, let it fail. Just sit back, smile, eat your popcorn, watch the train wreck.
Enjoy their stupidity if you think it's so stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Take advantage of it, right? Like it's like it doesn't make sense. I when I worked at, you're talking about like loss leaders and stuff. When I worked at Fry's Electronics when I was like 20, we had a every like I forget, like every Monday or Saturday we'd have every Thursday, we'd have an ad. And the ad had some fucking crazy ridiculous deal in it. It was like insanely too good to be true, right? Like $100 like TV or something like that. It was just something ridiculously cheap. And it's like, they're taking a huge loss on that. Guess what? They only had like one of those fucking TVs, right? But the amount of like 100 people that came into the store, it's marketing, right? You can't quantify also the amount of attention that Xbox is getting because of Game Pass either. There's another whole thing, right? Word of mouth. All of this stuff, it has a cumulative effect. Okay.
I will say though that is a dangerous path to go to if you can't quantify where it's coming from. It could just go away.
Well, that's the thing with any business, though. If you, especially with marketing, with marketing, like you don't never know like what your return is. To be honest, like unless you have a direct sign up type program or something that directly correlates to a specific thing, like Coke spends like millions and millions of dollars to have a Super Bowl commercial or whatever. Like they don't know how fucking many Cokes they sold because they fucking had a commercial at the Super Bowl. It's all marketing, right? It's all putting things out. We had like signs on our trucks that cost like thousands of dollars.
I'm just saying, like if they don't know exactly where it's coming from, like one day they could just start losing money. Like we don't know where we're losing the money from. Like that's what.
Well, they would if they're losing money that in that way, they would see I think a correlation with the Game Pass subscriber count going down, right? I think with their Game Pass subscriber raising and the revenue and engagement increasing, then it's all a correlation. Right. And I think that's probably always going to be correlated with Xbox now because it's so tied to what their branding is. So if you start failing, you can see probably that your numbers are dropping, your subscriber count's dropping, all these other situations. Also, you have to take into account what are they putting out right now? Like right now, there's not a lot of first party content. Right. So that has an effect, and they are aware of that. And that's why they put out these financials and stuff. They give reasonings why. On some of the situations, so their shareholders understand, okay, this is probably because of this. This is probably because of this. This is probably because of this. And when you see these first party games start ramping up, what do you think is going to happen to that subscriber count? Right.
And didn't this only come out because of the Activision proceedings?
Yeah, it was in the Brazil documents. Someone's
that was the only reason they came. Like I don't think they came out and say like, hey, we're making this much money. So.
And it was only for like 2021 also. Like, so it's.
And I mean this year.
It's growing, guys. The good thing is it seems like it's working, right? It seems like Game Pass is healthy. It seems like Xbox is healthy. And the gaming industry is healthy, even though this year has taken a big downturn with markets and stuff like that, right? It seems like overall the investment is still strong, right? And that's the most important thing, because if the company's investments are strong, then that's where we get to benefit from as the gamers.
I mean, I don't think it will ever fail because like Netflix loses a fuck ton of money. They just raise the price, That's what it ends up being. It's just eventually they'll raise the price if they start losing money. So
I think they'll probably raise the price eventually. They're in an acquisition phase right now.
The price of Game Pass will definitely go up when they hit a certain subscriber point. I've always said it's going to be a gradual increase, like they're done with Netflix, right?
$2.
Like, it's going to be $1 here, $1 the year after, and then like suddenly you're paying $10 more, but like it's been over the course of 15 years, so you don't like notice it as much.
It is so underpriced right now; it's freaking ridiculous. Like the amount of value you get for Game Pass for what you pay. And I see this argument too. Why would you pay $15 a month when you could just buy the game for $60? People like take this into account. When the one game, you're not realizing that Game Pass gives you like 400 games, right? If you only play one game and that's all you're ever interested in, don't get Game Pass. That's a smart decision, right?
Yeah, I've played 77 games this year. I don't think buying all those for $60 would be very cost efficient.
Right. That would be like it's over $6,000.
Jeez.
Probably over $5,000.
But you could buy them physically and have a nice shelf. And you would own your game.
And then you can trade them in like GameStop and get a quarter for each one of those titles.
Yeah. And supporting the devs while you do it. Don't forget that part.
Yeah.
Trading in your titles to GameStop doesn't support the devs.
Yeah. And then GameSpot turns around and sells it for $25. It's like, what?
Yeah. That's the whole physical argument.
Let's just not get into that. That's been going on for fucking decades, and that's an okay model because that wasn't supporting the devs. But Game Pass, holy shit, we cannot have this. It's not supporting the devs. Get rid of it.
If anyone is actually selling their games back to GameStop, please don't do that. Sell them on like Macari or so, like one of those secondhand. You'll make. I've been riding the same like $60 Nintendo game physical releases. I buy it, sell it back for 55. Buy the next one, sell it back for 50. Like I have not been spending money on Nintendo games.
Yeah. It's an interesting conversation. I just don't think I think what Jasper's saying, yes, you can just take those two lines, right? Outgoing of games that have entered into Game Pass and first party game development, right? Which also they're going to sell games too, first party games, not just Game Pass. It won't just be Game Pass players, but and then you could look at your income.
I don't even think you put the sell games in that category. I think you put the sell games in another like sold games category. I think you make the whole other fucking category.
Right, and they do all this, but my point is, my whole point is like the success of Game Pass does not translate to that one group, right?
Yeah, you got to look at Xbox as a whole. You can't just
you have to look across the whole fucking thing, and that's what Phil was saying in that interview last year, and that's the only way they track is engagement.
I think like this whole Twitter thing, this Twitter thing. If we're gonna only talk about Game Pass, we should only talk about Game Pass in the breakdown. We shouldn't add Xbox into it if we're only talking about the Game Pass revenue. That's my whole point.
But the whole argument, the reason I disagree with that, Jasper, is because their whole argument against Game Pass is because they don't think it can work, right? Their whole argument against Game Pass is because they don't think it's making money, right? Or they think that Xbox is taking a loss in order to take over the industry, right? And that's just not true, because you have to qualify all those other factors.
Yeah, if you're just saying like, you're not making a profit, like if your argument, if you think Xbox spends $3 billion a year to just run Game Pass, then I mean that's what you think, I guess. Like if you literally think that's their money, they're just using that for Game Pass, like okay.
And maybe they have a budget for that, but it still doesn't, we still can't quantify exactly how much, because Game Pass existing has helped Xbox bring in more money. We only have one direct avenue for that. And that's not the only avenue that matters to Xbox and to Microsoft and to the shareholders and to us as gamers. It all comes across in a much bigger scope than that. And so that question that keeps getting thrown out there and keeps talking about and picked apart is too narrow. It's too narrow focused, because that's just like not how it actually works in the business with Microsoft. Because if that was the only correlation that they had, they wouldn't be doing this. They're making money other ways because of Game Pass also, right? Yeah. It's much bigger than that. The cloud stuff,
way too broad.
How many devices now are being used for gaming that weren't before? That's another aspect of Game Pass, right? Now you have the cloud aspect, right? People that weren't buying consoles are now playing games and spending money in games that never would have even owned a console before, are now in the ecosystem. How do you quantify that? New consumers versus old, right? That's another value also. Like there's so many different avenues you have, like that people don't.
Well, the good thing is Microsoft owns Excel, so they can make the biggest fucking spreadsheet they want.
That's true. They can. They can.
I mean, for those who are in marketing, something that people always try to do is like, you have a commercial, you have an ad. How many ads does it take for someone to look at something? You look at it and you actually click on it, or you at least it's in the visual space where you know about it, to the point where later down the line you can purchase it. And that's like marketing 101. It's like you keep showing people about Game Pass, keep put it on as many services as you can. It's on TVs now, right? You can literally get it on, was it Samsung TVs or like different TVs. Put it on TVs, put it on mobile. The biggest market right now is mobile.
I will say this is probably the best news for Game Pass, because Game Pass news has kind of been quiet lately. It's like we haven't really talked about that much, I feel like. So it's like,
yeah, I mean, this wasn't even, that's why I asked that. It wasn't even released by them. It was just a sort of a thing that came with the Cade thing. Yeah. So it made more money than I thought. that they previously made. So I can't even imagine when they actually start to put the content from their first party studios in there, how much more it's going to make. Because I think a lot of people are also waiting for a lot of these first party games to hit, and then they're going to invest in Game Pass. So you have to think about that avenue. There's so many. To think about it broadly is very ignorant to me. To just be like, is it sustainable?
It doesn't even matter if they're making money, because there's so many companies that run in the negative nowadays that are like tech companies. It's who the hell cares?
You're
like,
asking, the fact that people are asking if a $1 trillion company, one of the richest companies in the world, is sustainable is crazy to me. Like, are you a trillionaire? Like, do you like to me it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You're asking a $1 trillion company if you're sustainable. Are you sustainable? Like, does it really matter? Like, or to just think about it broadly, to me is just ignorant. Just to say like, oh, is Game Pass sustainable? No. Well, I think think about how you want. The demographic that we're seeing on Twitter is a very small section of the market. Like the people who are the most vocal about Game Pass being sustainable, they're like this compared to,
or the people that try and shut down positive conversation about it because they claim that any positive talk about it is conjecture.
Yeah, and unfortunately that does go to the gaming media, and that can go a little bit more because the gaming media likes to take a lot of these topics and sort of run with it, and that can spread to the masses. But I think all Microsoft is worried about is just getting people in the door, having an add-on game on Game Pass, whether that or not that translates to a purchase is something I've always has to deal with. Because I do advertisement, so making things like feasible to a consumer is something I have to deal with like every day. So that's what Microsoft's worried about, like getting people in the door, making good value. It's making them enough money to funnel that back into Xbox, and that's what they're worried about. Like that was a previous avenue, like Game Pass wasn't there before. Now it's there. They could funnel that back into Xbox. Just think about like if when Game Pass wasn't there, where were they making their money on? Right? It was mostly the store, just deals with devs, games, yada yada yada. Right? Now Game Pass is just there and it's funneling back into those services, like what we're all pretty much saying. Like to just think about it broadly, just to say like Game Pass is or isn't sustainable. To me, I don't care. I'm just worried about the value, and that's how we should basically just take from this.
I think it's just kind of different mindsets, because like if we're discussing this and like we're talking about that one graph that came out, I'm not gonna like, I know like you all are kind of adding like, well, you got to think about this or whatever, but like I'm only talking about that one graph. Like I'm not gonna add more data to that graph that I don't have to it. That's
but that graph doesn't. But my point is that graph doesn't tell the whole picture, and people think it does. You know what I mean? And that's
I'm just saying like, I think you should only talk about that graph. Like, I don't think you should add more data to it because we don't have that data. That's my whole point. Like,
the Xbox doesn't even. I mean, the Xbox has data, but they don't know how to probably funnel it properly to 100% quantify what
of their other data. They've said on other occasions that Xbox, by people who have Xbox Game Pass, buy more games. So that's a data point that we don't have access to, but we know it exists. Right.
Yeah, and so we didn't see that. I'm just saying we didn't see that data in this graph. So like you can only base.
I'm not talking about a graph though.
You're talking about the whole thing, but I'm just saying that's kind of where this whole topic came from, is that one graph. So
yeah. Well, fuck the graph. I don't care about the graph. What I'm talking about is the damn conversation and narrative about like the whole thing. And it's like, it's just like getting old, how it's like, why does it, first off, who the fuck cares? Right? If Microsoft is making a profit on one aspect of Xbox or not, if it's helping Xbox grow and gain market share, right? They lose money on consoles. They have been ever since they started. Nobody is fucking complaining about that. Like, oh, you're losing money on hardware. Is that sustainable? Did everybody ever cry when they were taking a loss up front on console sales? That's been like the industry standard, right? So
it's an accepted norm.
Whoa, oh, mind fucking! People are so surprised now. What did I just say? That Xbox loses money on consoles. Oh my God, right?
It's not sustainable.
Obviously it is, because everybody in the fucking console market still exists, right? So that works.
20
Say
years
that to
later.
Now, go ahead, Kevin.
Sega shot its own self in the foot. That Sega's a unique story, kinda.
Dreamcast was ahead of its time. That's all I got. You know,
Yeah, it was.
yeah, ahead of its time. No, I just think it's because like in a few years, like at what point do they stop questioning the sustainability, or like how many more years? Because it's been around since 2017, right? Like that's 5 years now. How many more years does it need to be around?
2077.
2077,
Yeah.
full cyberpunk. We
Yeah.
need Robo Phil Spencer on stage talking about Game
digital
Pass.
We'll just have like glasses on that'll just fucking be playing games in our glasses, and like we'll just be able to like move our fingers. Like
It's
that's
gonna
it.
be all like
Is it
eye implants at that point. You don't need glasses.
Neural implants, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
true.
think the goalpost it's just gonna move to something else. I mean,
It'll move to the quality of the games in Game Pass again. You know, they'll point to that, or they'll point to, you know, live service games are only in Game Pass and like things like that.
No, I fully expect them, because I've said this a few times. I think once Xbox's first party starts hitting, we're gonna see less day one big third party releases because they won't need them. So the narrative is definitely gonna shift to, well, it's just a bunch of indie games and Xbox's first party.
Unless it's easier to make those deals, because Xbox has so many freaking subscribers at that point, third parties are begging to get their games in the service. It just like, who knows exactly what that, but I agree with you. But if they hit like 100 million subs, right? These third party companies are like, okay, I've been saying this about not putting our games in that service, but like for a game like NBA 2K, right, that makes so much money off of their damn like microtransactions and stuff, right, off of idiots like me, and you put that game for free day one in that service, all of a sudden that decision becomes a little bit more like, well, 100 million, right? Like people could potentially buy our content in that. We may be willing to take that check, or it may be, maybe Microsoft doesn't even have to pay as much to the third party publishers at that point, because the subscriber base is so high
that people will pay Xbox to just get in the door at that point.
That's the main difference with Game Pass 3-bit than like Netflix and all these other things, is because Game Pass is an avenue still to buy content with, right? Game Pass is an avenue to where you can actually purchase stuff within that ecosystem. You don't do that with Netflix. You just subscribe to Netflix and you watch the damn movie, right? But when you're playing a game in Game Pass, right? Now, some people may not like this, but a lot of games have microtransactions now, whether it's in Game Pass or not, right? But if you up the count and you have 25 million people that could potentially be interested in the game and all of a sudden going to spend money in it, that where they weren't going to before, that has a value to the publishers, right?
Maybe we should. I haven't really looked into Amazon Prime's like numbers, but I think Amazon Prime would probably be a better comparison with that, because you can buy content and you get free content on there.
They did this. The graph here did compare to a few other services. Like I know it compared to Nintendo, who makes 932 million. I don't see people being like, is NSO sustainable for Nintendo? And then EA Play was at 356 million, which is like they put all their games in after 6 months, right? On EA Play. But you know how much they make on FIFA, which goes into the service? $1.6 billion a year. I don't think they care that they're giving the game away for EA Play.
Yeah. I mean, the graph was like so simple. It just only showed like a few companies and like what people made and like how much of a market share like Xbox has over that segment of the industry, right?
I wish it had PS Plus on there.
We know that PS Now had about 3 million before, right?
Yeah.
PS Plus Essentials is just PS Plus. I think they were in the 50s or something like that before. Is that? Do you remember Psycho? Or Fuzzy?
I think it was
54.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it was between 50 and 60. It was somewhere in between.
Xbox Live Gold had more, right?
Yeah.
Even though there's was way less Xboxes out there, they still had more Xbox Live Gold subscribers than PS Plus subscribers, right? That was always just been a thing. Xbox has had a better attachment rate on the services that they've had as opposed to PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
So
PS Now had what, 2 million subscribers? PS Now.
I
and
think it
then
had
Game
3
Pass-
million.
Yeah, and Game Pass had 15 at the time,
Right.
something like that.
And
According to a quick Google search, as of June, PS Plus was actually down to 47.
Mm.
47 million.
They
When
lost.
did PlayStation
Wow.
Essentials will ever launch? Was that after June?
Well, Stray
Let's
came
say it
out
was-
in July, so it had to
Yeah,
be before.
July.
I think it was in May.
So
or
their
June.
numbers would have been going down because people have been converting over, right?
Well, PS
No,
Plus to
wouldn't
PS Plus Essentials is the same thing, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. They have too many fucking servers. I can't remember their
And
guys.
there's PS Plus. Basically, PS Plus just turned to PS Plus Essentials. Then they have Extra, which is like Game Pass. Then they have
Yeah.
Premium, which is like Game
stealing
Pass
your money.
Ultimate, and Premium is worthless. Everybody, do not sign
I
up.
have Premium.
Yeah, I had it too for a few months because I just converted over right to that, and then I was like, okay, I'm checking it out. There's not anything worthwhile between Extra and Premium,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Extras. I think extras worth it.
Yeah.
Premium. If I didn't have PS Now stacked for a few years to get it half off, I would not.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's PS Now.
Yeah.
'cause you
I
converted
still have
PS
my
Now to
PS Now
Plus,
card
yeah.
and haven't cashed it in.
Yeah. So what I want to know is how many extra members extra or premium members there are, because that would be the correlation between Game Pass and PlayStation, right? And the last number we had was PlayStation Now was like 3 million, right? So I'm assuming they maybe got some extra from there, but if you're telling me their numbers actually dropped down a little bit, I don't know. It's interesting. I just canceled. I haven't been playing that much, right? So especially anything online. So I'm curious how it's gonna go like over time, with that service. But I'll tell you this:
Start doing day one.
it's not gonna help them if they don't do day one games, right? They have to do day one games, which they are going to eventually probably. But they also
They're service games.
need to put some of the damn games they have available to be able to put in that service now in there. Like, why isn't Destiny in there? Why isn't Gran Turismo 7 in there now? Right? Like, it's insane.
Those games make sense to put in there. I think their
Destiny's free to
model.
play now, so it
I think
doesn't really matter.
Sony just
Yeah,
has
but
to
you
Yeah,
can
but
have some kind of
the
incentives
content
and
adders,
stuff.
kind of like
Right.
what Game Pass did. They gave you not the Witch Queen, not the Witch King or something. I forget what it was, but they gave you like the season
expansion
pass for
yeah.
free.
Yeah, I think again Sony has to be pushed to do certain things because of their model of what previously worked for them, which is like console sales to maybe subscription, like people getting in the door, and et cetera, et cetera. And what Microsoft has realized over time with their other business models being like Office and other PC subscription things that has been going on with different computer companies, is that subscriptions are the way to go to get a lot of money. Like, you can make the loss on the console, sure, as long as you get them in the door, that's where you are making your more residual income. But I think Sony is still in that boat of getting the sales from the game as much as you can, and then maybe putting it on the service later. But I think what they'll learn over time, and we're starting to see them shift with a lot of their philosophies as a company, just based on where the market is going. Them wanting to add more games to PC was the first domino effect of that's pretty big for PlayStation. If you just consider their history of just, this is the PlayStation, you're only playing stuff on their box. They're realizing that the more you open your subscribers up to different people, being the PC market, maybe mobile in the future, we'll see. And having day one content, that's going to add a lot more people to your service. So if their numbers are going down, I think it's interesting. I think what they will want to start doing. I mean, I'm not going to work for Sony, but I think what they want to start doing is adding those day and date content, making these subscription tiers worth it, adding more additional value. Like they have such a huge library of games. It's like insane to me that they don't always add some of these games in there.
Do you think people would be upset, like in the PlayStation community, if they put like God of War Ragnarok day one on PlayStation
But see,
Plus extra?
we're gonna have to charge
You know
more
what I
for
mean?
that. It's gonna be
But I would
$20 to
subscribe. That
17.
would
I know.
incentivize me who's like not super into PlayStation, like the tier list and everything. Like that would incentivize me to jump into a service if you have games like that, just like there.
I think
Like,
there'd be a
awesome.
celebration, right? If that
Yeah.
happened, people would be like, "Hell yeah, yeah! I'm going to be able to get this, and I don't have to pay $70, right? I can, I can just."
I expect funerals for the developers who are dying now. Like, we've killed them.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
The first party developers that are actually owned by Sony would be out of the.
And I do know they are a smaller. They are definitely a smaller company than Microsoft. So I do wonder if they do day and date, whether how they sort of manage that, like basically funded it back to the developer. I don't know. I don't really care. I just want them to
even
sort
if you
of-
don't do that, you could do what Nintendo does. They give you like you can buy like a ticket thing for the price of 2 games, but you get like 3 games for free or whatever. Like I don't know if they still do that, but they used to. Like you could buy like a ticket for $120 and it was like you could get 3 games with that.
That was
instead
the
of paying $180.
That was the second thing when you're talking about Sony's value being obviously a lot less, right? That was the second thing that Fuzzy chose violence on today. Because he was putting a target on their back about being acquirable now because their stock is like down like 50% year to date, right? And he made a good point though. Their overall valuation is what, in the 60s right now, per share, right?
Yeah.
That's around the same that Activision Blizzard was when Microsoft acquired them. And Fuzzy's point was like Amazon, Apple, these other companies that maybe they've had conversations with in the past. You know, don't be surprised if it could be potentially something, some kind of talks, because once somebody gets to that sweet spot. Now, I saw people come after you all over this, claiming that you don't understand the stock market because all markets are down and everything like this. You're just trying to throw shade at Sony. And your thing was purely about the potential of an acquisition at some point, not trying to throw shade at them because of their market position. I've done that. Exactly. You did not with this, right? But like, I thought that was pretty funny. I don't know about like acquisition wise, because the whole, if Xbox is having trouble getting through with Activision Blizzard, I think Apple or Amazon would have a hell of a time getting through with Sony, right? However, you make some good points there.
Well, yeah, I think the big thing that we all need to look at is that in the past, Sony, when they were selling off a lot of their divisions, secretly were in talks with Apple. This, I don't know how many people know this, but like around, I would say circa 2010, shortly after the iPhone was really hitting its stride, they were still using Sony cameras. Remember all the buzz about an Apple TV and not that little, the puck thing in front of your TV. They were actually talking about making a TV. It was because they were going to acquire Sony, and they wanted the whole shooting match. But Sony only wanted to get rid of the stuff that wasn't making money for them. Like at that time, the movie studios and some of their other hardware divisions weren't cutting it. So they wanted to dump that dead weight. But Apple wanted the whole thing, and that's where the talks broke down. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, it's hard to purchase a company in Japan and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it is. But money talks. and Apple, even then, had plenty of money to look into doing something along those lines. It made sense for them, not just for, their phones as far as part supply, but it also made sense for, new marketable items. Like, look at what they did with Beats. They didn't rebrand it, but it's an owned company.
Oh my god! If Apple gets that PlayStation would be $1,000 fucking.
Well, no, the PlayStation would probably stay at like a $500 price point. They may cut some.
No, it's Apple. They got to put the Apple logo on now. It's premium. That's an extra $500.
PlayStation already does that though.
But I could totally see them being the ones that could swoop in, because they have right now, I think more liquid assets available than what Microsoft does that isn't accounted for. Like, in other words, Microsoft, I think, is somewhere around 170 or 160 billion in liquid. And right now, I think Apple is closer to like just shy of 200. Um, with no major purchases or anything like that on the docket at this point in time. And they've been looking at various hardware things, and they saw the whole Nvidia and ARM issues, and they have their own chipset, but they're looking to expand on that chipset that they're working on. But outside of that, with Sony, they want something in the entertainment business because they already have a streaming service. They already have streaming devices, but they're slowly building their own content as well. Like you've seen the shows that they've produced and
Last of Us,
whatnot.
Uncharted movie.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where Sony fits so many little gaps for them that at this price point it makes sense. Now a lot of people came at me and like, oh well, Microsoft is down. Yeah, I know that, but name me one company that has a couple $1 trillion to purchase Microsoft. It ain't happening. So we ain't got to worry about that. And plus, the overall size of the company, even with being down, when whatever this roller coaster we're on, ends, I guess, it should bounce back. And Sony will bounce back, and more than likely it'll be an early part of the next year where you'll see, probably big sales from like God of War and PlayStation 5
They'll have a
selling for
lot
the
of hardware
holidays.
next year for
Mhm.
PSVR and
Yeah,
slim
and then
PlayStation.
PSVR. Yeah, so they're going to rebound, but now more than ever, like Sony might be to the point where they're like, well, if somebody's offering us enough and they could fit or finance a lot of the stuff that we want to expand on to, kind of do what Microsoft is doing to some extent, Apple would probably be that good partner. And then on the flip side of things, Amazon has the cloud stuff that, yes, there was an agreement on Azure, but that can be torn up just as easily as anything, and then pay whatever fees or cancellations or if there's any of that in the contract speak. So, but I think they're getting to that sweet price where if they drop, uh, I'm gonna say another 8 or 10 billion in value, I can totally see either Amazon or Apple possibly going into more serious talks if they're not already in serious talks. I mean, technically, it's stuff that if they're doing that, we're not going to find out until they're ready to announce, and that would really come down to them negotiating like a finalized price type of thing. Like if it's 66 per share, and Apple says, "Well, we're going to pay 90 a share," that might be enough for Sony. As far as regulatory bodies are concerned, they tend to like Apple more so than Amazon, but Amazon got balls where you challenge them, they'll take you to
They're
court.
like, okay, yeah.
And most governments don't really have the wherewithal to go against Amazon. And then on the flip side of things, outside the US, a lot of those countries, even though they may not like Amazon, they do have a purpose in the sense as far as for commerce. So they're not going to really burn that bridge and know that Amazon is going to, make it hard for their stuff, like any goods that they want to export. They could not that Amazon alone could really ruin their day, but it's one of those things you don't really want to burn one of the world's biggest distributors.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. But
one thing is true. If you had somebody like that buy them, they could honestly really compete 1-for-1 to Game Pass at that point, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? But who knows? I mean, that's
I would hope
just speculation, everybody.
Oh yeah, just speculation. There's no. I mean, I wish I had inside information because then it would be easy for me to just buy the shares, knowing that I'll get a return. But yeah,
I think that might be illegal.
Yeah, I was going to say you might go to jail for that.
As long as you don't talk about it,
Only I could do some insider trading.
Insider trading, yes, I know. And politicians do it all the time.
Welcome to Insider Trading Podcast here, where we're going to give you all the insights on what Fuzzy knows about the industry.
Yeah, I would almost hope it gets purchased just because of the Spider-Man situation. Like, Marvel would get back.
Oh,
Spider-Man.
you think Disney's gonna buy them? That's smart.
I mean, yeah, I was thinking that, but like, if anyone buys Sony, the rights go back to Marvel.
Yeah.
If anyone buys Sony, so like that would be great.
Is that part of the agreement?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they ever
Buy
get sold,
Sony.
that ends their ties.
Are they
or
still being
ownership.
sued by the original like creator of Spider-Man though, or whatever?
Sam Raimi.
I mean, Marvel's always
Sam
fighting.
Sam Raimi?
Sam Raimi. What? Sam Raimi? I don't think so. I think Sam Raimi's fine. I don't think he's doing anybody.
I don't think Sam Raimi is the original creator of Spider-Man, but that's fucking great.
Yeah, let's go on.
No one's doing.
Trying to make people laugh, damn it.
I'll take the
Oh,
Disney
man.
PlayStation. See the Walt Disney logo when I boot up.
It's all blue. They
my-
don't have to change the color.
My
Yeah,
PS7.
That would be great. I feel like
yeah.
Disney would be an interesting purchase. Like, if since the Apple talks have already went through and then it kind of died down. I mean, it could reinvigorate in the future, but like, Disney would be interesting because we know they want the Spider-Man back, or maybe they would just want someone else to purchase them, so they don't have to buy up Spider-Man if they don't need to. But it'd be interesting, and I think the regulators would go for it a little bit more because they don't really own any. I mean, they own a streaming service, but they're not in the console market. Like, they wouldn't allow Microsoft to buy Sony, right?
No, that will be a
Microsoft buying
No,
Sony would
yeah.
be too much of an overlap in the.
The
Yeah,
thing
that
is,
would be the
Sony
industries.
crosses multiple industries, so it's a lot different than like Activision Blizzard, which is primarily gaming. Like, Sony is like so many different things, right? And so you have to deal with how it affects all those different industries, not just the gaming industry when you're looking at those things. And that's why I think it's hard to get a deal like that through in this current climate right now. Not to say it couldn't happen, but
Disney would run into problems with the movie industry.
Yeah.
Sony owns a shit ton of movie stuff. So yeah,
I mean, they were able to get Fox through, but it's a different environment now. You know what I mean? Than it was. Amazon just said "F you" to the FTC and all the regulators with MGM. You know, but when you talk about the hardware, you got the whole gaming industry aspect. You got the whole, like TVs and electronics.
You think Tencent?
Oh,
Or
God,
no?
I hope not.
See, Tencent is kind of a weirder case, and I think it's more so because of history. It could never be Tencent. I won't say never. Well, I shouldn't say never could be Tencent.
They're
but
Chinese. They're Chinese.
Yeah,
company.
it's. I can't imagine the board.
But what about
approving
50
or
Cent?
even
50 Cent? Like the rapper?
Like the rapper?
Yeah.
You think he sold that much vitamin water to buy it?
I'm thinking of this. He's got 5 times more than 10 Cent, so he should be able to pull it off.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
No, but
Saying.
I think with Tencent, I think there's not that there's bad blood there, but I think it would the Japanese government might have more to say as far as stepping in to prevent it, type of thing. An American company like Apple, I think Japan would be fine with Apple. Amazon's kind of a question mark. Microsoft, I think Japan would probably be somewhat fine, but outside of Japan, like the US, I can guarantee the regulators would be like, nope. And the EU and the CMA and all of them would be nope. I mean, Saudi Arabia and Brazil would probably be okay with it, but a lot of others would definitely, they wouldn't even entertain it. So it would be a court battle from day one type of thing.
Yeah, it really gets interesting when you start thinking about who could possibly acquire them, because like you do have to take a lot of that into consideration. For a while, it's like Microsoft is only going to acquire private companies. Up until this Activision deal, that was my stance for a while, just based on their history. They just would acquire private companies because it's a lot easier to acquire private companies. You just deal with the owners of that said company, and then the deal kind of goes through swiftly. But when you're dealing with a public company, you're dealing with shareholders and a lot of different SEC laws. And
That's why I think someone like out of nowhere that no one expects, like a Samsung or something, or
Samsung
LG, like
buys-
some kind of like phone tech company would buy them, but like not Apple. Like I don't know, some smaller
Okay.
subsidiary than Apple would
Right.
buy that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dragonheart Yobi, hit us with a $5 super chat. Appreciate you.
Yobi.
Yobi, what up? He said, "Peace, love, life." Yeah. Peace, love, life to you, man.
Life.
How's it going?
Yeah.
But I, you know, 50 Cent could try and buy a PlayStation to compete with Soldier Boy.
No,
You know? No.
he doesn't have enough to get even.
Please
the
send
bill.
your hate mail to Fun Speculation. P.O. Box.
They won't even let him in the Sony building. He'll be knocking outside.
Hey, PlayStation fans, it's your birthday. We got
Yeah, why is no one talking about Soldier Boy's consoles being unsustainable?
What?
I said, no one's talking about Soldier Boy's consoles being unsustainable.
They were
It's
unsustainable.
amazing. It's an amazing deal.
Yeah. I think there's only one person that believed in that console. Soldier Boy.
Just Soldier Boy. That's the only sale he needs.
Right.
Oh man.
He just sit there playing with himself. I mean, with his own console.
What?
With his own-
Well, now he really is cranking that.
Oh.
Pop, pop, pop. All right. So, hey, speaking of new gaming devices, we got a little bit of a tease at one potentially today. Could be the one future aspect of Xbox here. We got a glimpse of a little thing on Phil's shelves, and it looks like an Xbox streaming stick. And this is something that was leaked and teased and rumored before from Windows Central and Jess Gordon and those guys.
Could be the Soldier console.
Maybe he gifted it to Phil, right? But it looks like here's what I want to get with this, right? We knew this thing was going to happen at some point. We knew it existed.
Mhm.
Now seeing it actually and physically on a Phil shelf is 100%. That's what it is. Jeff Grubb, I believe, also said 100%. That's what it is. I don't know. It was Tom Warren that said that. Tom Warren from The Verge. He
Yeah.
said 100%.
Yes.
That is the Xbox streaming stick, right? So, being that's what it is, how far are we away from getting an actual reveal potentially of this thing? Remember, we had a Series S hint in his backdrop before the Series S was announced as well.
I think
Next
2 months.
spring.
2 months? Game Awards?
I think Game Awards.
Black-
I think Game Awards. 100%.
They show at Game Awards launch in spring.
Well, see, the thing is, they had to kind of move up the launch announcement for the Series S after Boss kind of or somebody, I guess, what was it, Brad Sams or something
Yeah,
like
Brad
that?
Sams had it.
Oh,
I think it was incoming within a couple of weeks. That's how he probably got the information anyway, right?
Yeah.
But they moved it up a little shortly. I don't think it was like a long lead up, whatever. But
Yeah, maybe like go extra.
and the way that
Yeah.
Xbox handled that back in the time was classy. They got like lots of like respect for that because like
That meme was so
they got
good.
the eyes thing, going right. Like,
Did they
yeah.
talk about that in the documentary, or
no,
did they talk about
it's-
this?
No.
No.
Hmm.
Well, even today, the Xbox's Twitter account was like, "Phil, we told you don't put old prototypes on your shelf." Like, clearly, like I saw Jam Pack Sam. He was like, "Look at this photo. This has been compressed so much. It's probably gone through 6 different emails, being like, all right, Phil, this is the one you can put out with the little tease." So like they know what they're doing. This is inbound imminently, and like I say Game Awards because it's the next big like event where it's gonna have tons of eyes on it, and they revealed the Series X there, so like it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I guess also it is a streaming like puck thing, so you don't have to like spend as much time making it. So they could pump out like thousands of these things pretty quickly. So
Millions.
I think they
Probably
probably
gonna-
already have them in boxes and ready to go.
Oh yeah.
Like
They're
because
probably
it's
waiting.
been talked about for almost 2 years now, and we've heard about the Keystone name about a year or so ago, I want to say. So I'm pretty sure this is almost, if it's not almost ready for market, I think it's ready for market, like already boxed, probably could go on the website tomorrow. You would see it in
I'm just
3 to
trying to
5
think.
days.
Like usually when we see someone like, because we saw the Series S on Phil's shelf and it was there like 6 months before anyone ever noticed it. So it's like,
yeah.
I'm wondering if like he didn't really want people noticing it yet. I don't know.
He had to know. Like he had to know.
Especially now, after the S, our noticing time is definitely a lot closer. It's like
People pointed
everybody's
this
now
out in
purposely
record
looking.
time.
They're so aware that everyone stares at his shelf by now. Like it's they know exactly that everyone's gonna like, oh, what's going on? Are we who we buying? Like,
Yeah,
like an Easter egg.
What do you all think it'll be priced at?
I already have my thoughts.
$100?
Like
$100.
$100 and you get a free controller with it.
I think it will come with a remote, no controller. I think it would be remote.
Okay.
I'm thinking
And
100 without a controller, 150
Yeah.
with a controller.
I saw Paris Lily. Shout out to Paris. He had posted.
Well, what the fuck are you gonna do with it? If
He-
you don't have a controller.
He had posted $100.
Stream your
an existing
Netflix or
controller.
Disney Plus.
Well,
Stream those.
here's one thing, right? So Paris had said $100 with a controller and 3 months of Game Pass. I think personally that would be
Jeez.
crazy, but that's like over $100 if you buy those individually. Obviously, they would sell them like crazy if they
I
did
say
that.
you do 70 without a controller. You have two versions.
Yeah.
You get 70 without and then 100 with.
Right. So here's what I think the Xbox needs to do with this thing. Okay. First off, you need to have it affordable, $100, something like that, right? Something that's going to compete with the high-end other streaming devices that are out there, like the Roku's and the Chromecast and the Fire Cubes and all those stuff. There's some out there that run $100, right? Also, you got the NVIDIA Shield and things like that. Those all sit at retail in a specific section, okay? It's like the streaming stick section, the streaming device section. This device needs to be in two locations. It needs to be in the gaming section, and they also need to have it over there next to the Fire Cubes and the Roku's and the Chromecast and all that shit. So that way when Mr. like guy goes to pick up a streaming cube thing for his TV, right? That's not even in the thinking of Xbox, right? He goes up there, he'll see Xbox, and potentially you have somebody that would have never bought into the Xbox ecosystem now potentially getting into the Xbox ecosystem because they saw that and you can get Game Pass on it. You can play games on this thing and you can do Game Pass and you also get Netflix and YouTube and Amazon Prime and all these different things, right? So I think being in that part of the store and not just in the gaming section could have a big benefit for Xbox to attract a new audience.
Well, we don't know necessarily that they'll have like Amazon and stuff on it, do we?
They better. If they don't, they're not going to have
From what
anybody
they've
get
said,
this.
it's gonna have the other streaming service apps as well.
Yeah, how they'll probably do it too is they'll probably in the UI they'll encourage you to use your phone or have a controller of some type, like maybe at the bottom, like, hey, this is encouraged, so you play this certain thing with the controller or something. I could see them sort of doing that if they want like people to go into the like you open up the Game Pass store and maybe at the bottom is like a controller icon, like this one is controller recommended, this one you could play with your phone or something like that if they really want
Touch controls on your phone.
yeah because there's already certain games on Game Pass right now where you could just play on your phone. You don't need a controller. I think Hellblade is one of them. You could play Hellblade.
I think there's a ton. They're always adding like 20 new games, and that's actually I didn't even think about that because just Bluetooth it to your phone. That'd be really smart actually if people can't afford a controller. But I was just looking up the price of like some of these, like a Fire Stick is $40. Chromecast Ultra, which is the high end, is $79.99. So I think 100 actually, maybe with
the Roku one's 100.
Like so I think 100 is probably where they need to fall on this. And I don't know if that's with or without a controller, if they want to be generous and throw in a controller. But
how much is the NVIDIA Shield?
$150. The $150 with just like a remote control for your TV. Does not have like a whatever like gaming controller. So It's $150 for the NVIDIA.
Yeah, maybe
I was
150
looking
for
at
the
it today.
controller.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll just throw in the controller or not, but I do know they have a lot of options if they just want to Bluetooth it. If they really
Because
just,
Yeah.
everyone has a phone, or a lot of people.
Yeah, because I was thinking exactly with in the 50-ish, between $50-$100 for the device itself. But if they bundle it with the controller for 100, if they do I don't know if they would do like a remote control, if they have like a small version that they can throw in there for like a $70, and then $100 for the with the gaming controller. And people that don't have a game controller, like, oh, for $30 I can get a freaking Xbox controller, could go for that. So they could have 2 SKUs as well. Or if they don't do 2 SKUs, then they might just do 1 SKU, maybe like 120 with a little remote with a
I guess
also gaming remote.
you also like if it's $30 for like a controller like that, like you could resell a controller for like $50 probably. So like people would just buy that. So I'm wondering like the market there, because people could just buy a bunch of these things and then sell the controller for 50 and make profit.
Yeah.
They could
Sure.
also
They're
just
probably thinking about a lot of that stuff, which makes me, I don't know. It is really smart. We do know it's going to be cheaper regardless, but like, it's smart entryway to Game
It
Pass.
also depends on what capabilities. Like the Shield stuff I was looking at, it has like Google Assistant in it. They don't need that, so they can cut
No.
the Google license out of that. Like Roku does 4K streaming on their high end. Like, do you need 4K streaming? I don't know.
Well, for movies, that would be a plus. So I could see them doing that, but that would be on the digital store itself. So it's not with the device. Because
I think you need 4K streaming for movies. You're not going to sell too many of a $100 type device without 4K movie
Yeah.
streaming, right?
Yeah, I'm
Even
just pointing out like
Roku has
random like
4K.
stuff, like random
Yeah,
features like you could cut out.
Mhm.
Well, they because I think I forget which one. I think the NVIDIA Shield also has Dolby Vision and Atmos.
Yeah.
So Xbox has that too. So they can implement that as well. So there's
But
a
all
lot
those
of
different things like are going to potentially add the price up though. Like if you use Dolby Vision and stuff, because like there's like licensing and stuff. I think
Yeah, the licensed Adobe.
Yeah.
Vision and stuff out there.
I think they should.
Dolby.
I think they should keep this simple as possible because this is really going to be a device for the people that can't afford a console, right? Like maybe their kid wants to play some games, but they can't afford a console. Like, oh, we'll just get this and we'll stream some games for you. That's who I see this for. This is for the very casual consumer that's just interested in games, doesn't want to spend a lot for their children, and those types of people. That
I don't think the market's for like movies and stuff, because most of people watch Netflix is on phone now. So it's like I don't know if you target the movie side of that too much, really.
Well, I don't know how big.
but-
I don't know how big the whole Chromecast, Roku, Apple TV, Fire Cube market is, right? But for me, I would see this as a potential competitor with those because it's just another option. And I think when you're trying to pick between those, one thing that's cool is Xbox. You have games, right? So I would hope they would take the approach of trying to compete with those, right? And not just compete against like the NVIDIA Shield. Because I don't know how big the market is, but it's still like with that casual consumer, right? That's making that choice. You have an opportunity there to get somebody that maybe wasn't going to buy a gaming device to start to try and play games, right? And I would want it. I would think of it if I was Microsoft as trying to be like a Trojan horse device to get new consumers and your ecosystem and to grow your ecosystem more, not just have like it for a niche audience. You know what I mean? So that's if I was them, that's the whole purpose I would try and make a device like this for. Because otherwise, if I'm just making it for such a small audience, then there's really not a big point in doing it in the first place.
But then that's even. I think if they go that route, it's so much harder to get in because everyone's already heard of Amazon or Chromecast and be like, well, that's what my father has at his house or whatever. I'll just pick that up. It's like
everybody's heard of Xbox too, though. And you put those next to the Amazon or Google. Xbox is a lot cooler than an Amazon or a Google, right? Like I think it, as far as like a family would be considered. I just think that's like, okay, wow, this does all this stuff. Plus you can play Xbox games.
Well,
Okay.
you know what? You know what would be a good marketing tactic is to. I know they're working with Samsung for the apps, but maybe get some sort of deal where this is packaged in with like another TV brand, right? Like, oh, you buy a new
Right.
TV and you get this a lot. Like how I think they've done that with like
Roku does
Chromecast
that.
and
Mhm.
Roku's for sure. Like
Xfinity.
get this device bundled in if you buy it
Samsung.
with
They
a
probably do it with
certain-
Samsung because they already have. Well,
cer-
Samsung, you
well,
don't
they
even
got
need it.
the app,
Right. Yeah,
They
Samsung,
got
you don't even
they
need
got
it,
the
right?
app.
Shit.
So I was like, that's why I was like, go to a
LG.
different
Right.
for a
LG.
different-
Yeah, LG would be the other
Yeah.
one. Go to Sony.
I-
Go put it in Sony. TV.
Buy a Bravia TV and get an Xbox streaming box.
yeah, I'm sure they would love that.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, you
But
could
that
go to
would spread the
Walmart and make a
word.
deal with Walmart if you buy a Sony TV, we'll give you this
Put them on
Xbox streaming
TCL
stick.
or throw them in with my TCL TVs. You
I
know,
think
Yeah,
that's what
you're
Roku
really-
does the TCL.
They do, yeah.
King David would be mad about that.
that's my living room one. I got the OLED in here for the games. Okay, he's cool. It's cool with it.
Yeah, I completely agree with Kevin when where he says where it's targeted towards. Like it's definitely targeted towards a market. Well, I think it's targeted towards a market that doesn't really maybe doesn't game as much. Maybe they're just casually thinking about it. And that's genius if you really think about like the sort of steps that all the different SKUs that is here when you have the streaming stick at the lowest tier, I guess, being probably the cheapest, the Series S, and then if you really want the premium graphics, that's the Series X. So there's like 3 different SKUs and different avenues to get across, and on top of that, you have the mobile app itself, right? I think having the streaming stick, knowing that it'll be more for a casual audience means they'll be very competitive with the pricing. So I could literally see them going out on stage and be like, this is available for $99.
I think this does really
maybe-
well when you have a game like Among Us or a Fortnite or something come out, because then you have like everyone like at a college dorm talking about that. We're like, well, we don't have a Series S, so but it's like, hey, you can go buy $100 thing and you can play with us tonight. It's like, I think that's where that really sells. But you
for
need
sure.
those games that are like that take over Twitter like within a week or whatever.
Yeah, that's what it's for. Like I was whenever I think about the streaming stick, like I just think about the times I was on vacation at the lug my huge Series Xbox, and I would just rather have a little streaming stick. I know it looks a little bit bigger on the shelf. Maybe it's like this big. Whereas Amazon Fire Stick is literally, it looks like a little USB you plug in your TV. So I wonder how that's gonna phase into things, but it still looks pretty small.
Yeah, we don't know how long it was. We just saw how wide
I don't
it
know
was.
what to compare it to, but it looks small enough to just be good for like travel and everything, be more of a casual thing. I know my dad would love something like this. Like he doesn't really want to buy a huge console. He doesn't really want to buy a Series S most likely, but a streaming stick, like heck yeah, that's like his thing.
I just remember something when I got I got the T-Mobile home internet thing as a secondary Wi-Fi thing for our house, right? And they sent me for free also as a promotional thing a Google Chromecast thing for the TV or or whatever. Like having a device at that low cost expense like opens a lot of avenues for like these partnership deals and stuff. And we know that they're already working with Verizon because their app had allowed Xbox All Access through Verizon as well. So potentially, you could see this as like a bundle giveaway thing if somebody buys a new like a phone or a new if you get the Verizon, because Verizon has the same thing that T-Mobile has right now. So maybe you get that or things like that. So because it would be a good bundle thing. All right, you get this internet from Verizon for your home, and then you get a free streaming stick for your TV that has Xbox games in it. Xbox deals with Verizon frequently. You can also buy games. I don't know if you guys know if you have Verizon. You can buy games and put it on your Verizon bill on your console. Pretty crazy, right? So what if you go get one of those in-home internet things, which is becoming more popular, especially for people that live in like more rural areas and stuff, that certain places don't have as good internet. I know Elkdood, Cam, friend of the show, friend of ours. He moved and he was disappointed because they didn't have great internet there. So he went and checked it out and he was able to get that for his house. Now he's able to stream. He's able to stream finally, right? Because he has the T-Mobile or whatever version. But more and more people are going to these more affordable internet options like this that have like 5G broadband for your house, for Wi-Fi. And if you get a free stick with it, that'd be pretty damn cool. I wouldn't be surprised if Xbox didn't approach Verizon with something like that. Just a thought.
Good.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
They
It
do
is
that, I think,
possible.
with like a lot of games in like the UK. Like every now and then they'll be like, sign up for a phone plan this week and you get like Call of Duty for free or whatever with it. So
Yeah, I mean, they're about to own a lot of big franchises. I know that people like to focus on Call of Duty, but they got World of Warcraft. That's just weird to think about. The fact that they're about to own World of Warcraft, which has such a huge audience and has a potential of a resurgence if they ever decide to do World of Warcraft 2 for some reason.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the numbers on that? I know they do like they keep the numbers up by doing DLC to that specific World of Warcraft, but they have so many different avenues to go about how to grow Game Pass. It's insane. Like they have just a lot of different ways they could grow Game Pass with all of the newer.
yeah, that's what I'm
studios
thinking
that are
about. Xfinity, that's the one. Vic put it in there.
Xfinity. Oh wow, okay. I didn't even know.
Yeah,
that
they
was
do a lot of like game stuff that you get random game shit out of them.
Yeah.
They should do a deal with LG because I feel like a lot more gamers like the LG CX Plus TVs because it has like 60 frames, 120 hertz, more so than like I guess they made the deal with Samsung. Like I feel like LG apps, like being able to access Game Pass on an LG app would be awesome. That would be insane. Because we've seen it with Samsung, and again as the cloud grows, we'll just get more features where you're able to have your controller as your phone and then play on the TV. You don't need a controller at this point. Like the cloud in general, when we all made fun of it during the Crackdown 3 days, where it's like, look at this, that's the cloud. It has so much potential. The fact that it's pretty much like what I picture the cloud to be is kind of what I wanted Google to do with their device, which is now gone. Basically, you see an ad of a game, let's say on Xbox, or you're watching the Game Awards, and you're just like, you see an advertisement of Plague Tale, and then you're like, okay, you want to play this? Press play on the video, and you're like, okay, you press play.
I think
and you
Twitch is the only one that actually does anything like that.
I know, but that would be so sick just to see that in the future.
Yeah, Xbox has that.
They have it with Bing now.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's what I'm saying. They're starting to like implement that into more cross media things. Like I can just press play on my browser, play games right then and there, and they are very much ahead of the game, more so than any other company I could think of, where they are implementing more and more cloud strategies to be able to like go on your browser and start playing games. Like that was an article or something was released today by Jez, where on Bing you are able to play certain games through the cloud. Just imagine like what else you can do in the future. Like that's just slowly going to be implemented as they improve the cloud and get more games into Game Pass and things like that. Like it's just gonna it's gonna be insane. Microsoft has always had the problem of implementing ideas kind of too early before people are ready for it,
or too late.
Or too late. I think
Windows Phone.
Windows Phone, that was such a tragedy. I actually really like the.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you can get the Surface Phone now as a Surface Duo, or I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Is that Android based?
Yeah.
I think their newer phones are now Android based. I think the older ones I might be wrong on that. I don't. I'm not sure.
Windows.
No, it's
Windows
Android
phones
based.
was based off Windows for the longest time. I don't know what they
Yes.
are now.
Yeah.
Why don't you get a Surface
Android.
Surface handheld gaming device? Get the Surface team to make a handheld gaming device. The same team that does the phone.
Phones are cool. I think what happened, what killed the Windows phones was when Google started blocking a lot of their apps, like YouTube,
Yes.
Yeah.
Run, just like things like that. It was like people were like, well, why would I have
Yeah.
a Windows phone? I can't go on YouTube.
Xbox can use that in their arguments for anything. You know what I mean? To anytime they're dealing with any regulators and stuff. But hey, guys, we've already been at this for freaking 2 hours and 15 minutes. This has been a very Xbox heavy episode of FSP, as honestly it usually is. But that's okay. We're gonna get into this next segment here where we look at the games coming out for the week. So, are y'all ready for some tidbits? Buckle up, everybody, because this week we got quite a few. Anybody that needs to bounce, I completely understand. But we got quite a few games to get through here. Cause last week was pretty weak. This week we got a lot. So we're gonna look through these games and find out maybe there's some hidden gems in here that we didn't know about that are releasing this week. There usually is. So we'll get going. I'm gonna add the source. Bear with me. This is always fun.
Doritos, Curse of the Stars.
Oh yeah, you also might have to mute my game because it might have licensed music. So
Got it. The one you added last.
yeah.
All right, here we go. First up is, how do you say this game? Asterigos? Curse of the Stars?
Yeah.
Good enough.
PS4, PS5, and PC, October 11th.
I think there's an Xbox version floating around, but I could
Yeah, it's
not.
it's on the Xbox store. I've seen it.
Okay.
Leading us to explore the known.
Yeah, I think Xbox was last week on this, right? Or is it this week?
I think it's this week.
Okay. Ooh, wow.
I've seen it in the coming soon section. So
To the limits. An attempt
There
to
you go.
control that which should never be touched.
This looks pretty cool. Is this like an RPG?
This one I'm not
action
entirely
adventure,
sure.
maybe.
Yeah.
It looks
Yeah,
like a little Sea of
action
Thieves art
adventure.
style with some of the characters.
The righteous path is always fraught with danger.
You ever heard of Asterigos, Kevin?
The curse of
No, I've never seen this game before. Mine.
Yeah.
None of us should
I thought this was the Immortals Phoenix game.
I had the exact same thought. I was like, this looks like a Mortals Phoenix
like a
Rising.
DLC. That's what I was thinking. It looks sick.
But also, I like the main character art, so like I'm digging it.
I think this is what, a $50 game or a $40 game.
That feels.
I couldn't
appropriate.
find pricing in this store, I don't think. Let's see.
Is it free?
No, it's not free.
No, it should be. It probably is either a 59 or a 49.99 or 59.99.
It's 35 on Steam.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. There you go.
I have not heard of that. PS5 exclusive, huh? Nice.
Next up, everybody, we got a game
It's
called
on Xbox.
Hello there.
Evil.
And welcome
Wow.
to
Jesus Christ.
How's
it's
your
so
Wow.
Let me
loud.
do the-
Whoa.
This is a safe place to.
Cool your jets there, guy. Holy
Never
crap.
mind, Dad. They don't last very long. around.
Evil. This is Xbox One, X and S, and PC.
Times
Game
have
Pass.
changed. These
It's
days,
Game Pass?
Oh, this is
no one is
Yep.
safe.
this is that game they showed off at the Ideas Xbox thing or whatever,
Conspirators
Mhm.
are
where they played it for like an hour and a half and no one gave a shit.
It's a social deduction game like Among Us, where you like
Yeah.
try to kill each other.
Oh,
and
okay.
lie
Oh.
and stuff. So
Oh,
Possesses
cool.
remarkable skills that will aid in your quest
So
for
it's like
justice.
Werewolf, but the
Special
game?
abilities
Yeah.
kind of, yeah,
not only help you
Oh,
uncover the
nice.
conspirators, but
Mafia,
also
whatever you want, whatever you call it, you know.
You will have to track, spy, and even
Chameleon.
kill to help ensure your survival. For some
Got
of
another
you,
one. other word.
Why be so lucky?
There's a board game called Chameleon. It's the same concept.
Because even
We
in
like
the
try to
afterlife,
find the
you
killer.
can aid
Yeah.
your fellow villagers. You must work together and find the conspirators hiding in plain sight.
The narrator sounds like they're really struggling.
Hey,
They
I
recorded
know.
this
It's
with
like
a
get a
sore
cough
throat.
drop or something.
Vote to eliminate them and restore order to evil. You're one of them.
Game Pass fodder. Come on, guys. I'm just kidding.
Evil.
No, evil. Maybe it'll be good. Could be. Who knows? You're gonna get to try it on Game Pass.
As a designer, I hate that font. That's garbage. Okay.
All right, Mr. Fable. Then here we go. In Sound Mind. I've never heard of this.
Hi, this is Mick Lauer, the voice of Desmond in the upcoming game, In Sound Mind.
Looks pretty.
It's releasing on Switch this week, but
Today
it's
I'll
been
give
on
you a
everything
walkthrough of
else
the many puzzles that await
for a
you in the
while
town
now.
of Milton Haven. In Sound Mind is a psychological horror experience, focusing on old
Oh,
school
so it's like
fun horror
Scorn.
gameplay.
Don't
Players
you
wake up
dare.
in an eerie old building,
Looks
playing
like
Desmond Wales,
Scorn.
the small town therapist.
The gameplay
and
is
our
pretty
main
much Scorn. You just walk around, you don't do
As he
anything but do
explores
puzzles,
the
and
old
then
building,
that's
Desmond
what
soon
I'm about.
discovers
Okay,
special
okay.
cassette tapes that contain recorded
take it back.
sessions with his patients. By playing the tapes, Desmond enters the puzzling psyches.
Why
of
does this
the
look like it's at like 15 frames per second?
the levels you traverse, along with the
It is
puzzles
probably
and threats
recorded
you
at
encounter,
15
Probably,
resonate with the same
Unity.
themes behind each
It's
of
on
their
the Switch.
stories and their
Oh,
struggles,
yeah.
making each tape.
Yeah, this
It is on the Switch.
version.
Okay, never mind. That makes a
One
lot
of
of
the patient
sense.
tapes you
Oh.
listen to is
Okay.
Oh, this is no.
Yeah.
Alvin works at the town's lighthouse keeper. He describes his fear of the dark to Desmond in one of their sessions.
I love
He
these
shakes
type of
Alan's
games. I know
monster,
people like
the shade.
hate these type
I
of
like
games,
'em.
Alan was comforted,
but some of my
Shade
favorite types of
fears it.
games are
and
end up
puzzles
being some of
surrounding
these.
it involve a play
That
on
looks good if it's the Switch version. Is this the actual
When
Switch
left
version in this
uninterrupted in
gameplay
the
trailer?
darkness, the shade appears as a giant living pit.
I
chasing
want
you,
to say
Most likely.
following
I
you
would say
each
no
way,
also.
From crates to entire cars.
What do you think
and
it's like?
trees. In
This
the
is
dark
a
that
PC.
chain link fence was too
on the
good.
beach,
That chain link
in
fence
the
had too much
nearby
anti-aliasing on it
forest,
to
or at
be
the
a
lighthouse.
Switch.
Threats can be anywhere.
Maybe they stream it on the Switch, like they do that
Use
house
the
thing.
environment. His
This
flashlight
small game that
or
no one's ever
flare
heard of
to
being
subdue
cloud
the
streamed, I doubt they're
darkness.
paying for
Yeah,
that.
this is already on everything else. This is just releasing on the Switch coming up here this week.
We're excited to
So,
be showing a glimpse of Lucas's tale.
I think this
Lucas
is
a veteran who served as an experienced
already. Yeah, look, the Switch isn't even listed on here on the end thing. So, this is an old trailer.
Yeah.
So we don't know what the Switch version will look like, but it's releasing on Switch October 11th. That looks cool. I've never heard of it, and it's already been out for a while, so that's not a good sign.
Yeah, I haven't heard of.
420p 15 FPS says Wize So Serious.
This game is No More Heroes 3. PS4, PS5, Xbox One, X and S, PC. $60, October 11th.
Yeah, this one is kind of like the reverse of the other, where this one has been on Switch for a while, and
Yeah.
now it's coming to everything.
No More Heroes is a franchise that's been around for a long time now.
Yeah, I
Since
never
the
got
Wii.
into the No More Heroes
Yeah.
games, but
Here to save the world. Here we go.
Is that a Joy-Con on his hand as a glove?
the Nintendo glove.
What is he doing?
These games are weird, bro.
Yeah.
Isn't like the third game really different from the other one? I'll have to like look at it.
It looks very different.
I know Travis Strikes Back is way different than the other one.
Okay.
And this frantic music is making me like paranoid for some reason.
Think you uneasy.
So you cannot escape.
Why does it remind me of like Powder Puff Girls for some reason?
Powderpuff
Drew
Girls.
and I remember Powerpuff Girls very differently.
Yeah.
Just the music. I don't know.
What was he doing to that
Oh,
toilet?
okay, yeah, that music where it's like,
Yeah.
they do yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Now he's in a Gundam.
I think I played a little bit of No More Heroes 2, and no,
What
I
the
think it has
hell?
like a lot of variety. Look at this. This has a ton of variety. You're in the mech here, freaking doing.
Yeah, these games are wild.
What the heck is happening?
Grasshopper Manufacturer.
That's cool.
All right, we got Lego Bricktails. Y'all excited for that?
Everyone.
Wasn't this just like a tech demo? Or was this something else?
This is releasing on everything for $20 on the 12th.
Yeah.
Tech demo.
Yeah, I thought it was like a ray tracing tech demo or some shit. Maybe it's another game.
Minecraft? Minecraft had the
No,
ray
this
tracing
is-
demo that never released.
Yeah, they had a patch on the Series X that they had to remove. Yeah, the ray tracing for a brief period of time. I think it was on like the one of the test rings or something like that, or early access.
Yeah, it was on the alpha's ring, and then they had to remove it.
Graphics so good.
You just build stuff?
Yeah.
And crash it?
Oh, that's
It's like
there's a game like this. There's what's that game called?
Banjo Kazooie's game, the Banjo Kazooie game.
Nuts and bolts.
Yeah,
No.
nuts and bolts. Yeah.
It's like that medieval one you're talking about, 3-bit.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, it's in Game Pass. I was just playing. It
Oh,
like a couple days
Besiege,
ago.
I think is what it's
Besiege,
called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Besiege.
That was such an awesome game.
It could be cool.
That's
Yeah.
Hey,
wonderful games.
But I'll tell you this, buying that for $20 is a lot cheaper than buying fucking real Lego sets because those things are expensive as hell.
Yeah, but you can resell real Lego sets for more money than you bought them.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you don't lose the damn Legos.
Or you step on them.
We got fuel. I just want to apologize everybody ahead of time. This is not a very strong week. So this is fueled up. PS4, PS5,
like-
Xbox One X and S, and
Is this
PC.
like Overcooked?
High risk. Oh, so it's kind of like
This looks fun.
more controlled FTL, like a party FTL game. I don't know.
I got offered a review code for this game and said no, and I'm kind of glad I did.
Because you needed 3 other people for it to be fun, maybe.
Maybe.
No, this seems like a fun party game, maybe. I wouldn't play this alone. But
I don't. Can you play it alone?
I have no idea.
that's what I'm wondering. Can you play it alone? I don't know. Looks fun.
No, probably queue you for online.
I can't do these type like Overcooked style. Get like you gotta work to get like they drive me nuts.
Is it only on the PS4?
It's $13 or no, October 13th. I don't know how much it is. We don't have a price.
Yeah, I couldn't
I'm
find
guessing $20.
confirmed pricing.
I think
it's
I
not
saw
that
it on
expensive.
Xbox. Yeah, I think I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
it's
I
on
saw it.
Xbox too.
Yeah, it's on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and PC.
Right on.
Oh, why did it only show PS4? That's weird.
Marketing.
Some of the videos I can only find on the PS channel or the PlayStation YouTube. So it's like,
Yeah, if it's marketing rights, then yeah, it's
Got you.
This next one is the Eternal Cylinder, and it is $30, and it's releasing on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S on the 13th.
Not at all what I was expecting from that name.
This looks like No Man's
Stay
Sky.
at the film there.
Somewhere
around.
out amongst the stars, there is a world teeming with life and beauty.
it's like Deathmatch, No Man's Sky,
But
kind of.
this world is
Like
dominated
well, not
by a
deathmatch, but-
terrible alien force. The Eternal Cylinder.
Oh, there's
I think I've
actually
seen
a
someone play
cylinder.
this.
It is
Yeah, I think I've seen someone play this. You got to run around and eat like these eggs to change your creature and like live, and you got to outrun that cylinder over and over.
But sometimes it is the smallest, most unassuming of creatures that manage to find a way forward. To survive, they must band together
This looks trippy.
Mutate. Adapt.
So it's like Spore, but you're outrunning a cylinder.
Learn.
Yeah.
And overcome.
You eat and breed with these other creatures to get new abilities,
But
like
no matter
gills
what
so you can
they
swim,
do,
or wings so you can fly, stuff like that.
Fact remains. The eternal cylinder cannot be stopped.
The Eternal Cylinder. Dude, there's a person within a person.
It's called a baby.
I was thinking the same thing.
What's that? Is that a new concept? Person with a
Just hide in a little crack in the floor. What happens when it passes over? Does
You
another
die.
cylinder come?
Yeah, because I guess the heat cooks you or something.
I don't think you can go under it. I think you just die.
I thought that's
Start
what he
over.
did at the end. He went in that little tunnel thing.
that cylinder just reminds me of Fall Guys. All right.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's an interesting, different, original game there. This next one is The Last Oricru. Oricru. I don't know how to say it. PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on the 13th.
I really didn't have a choice, you know.
We all have choices, Master.
Got him.
We can choose to help those who make others suffer, or we can choose to help those who suffer.
Oh, is this a Skyrim DLC?
Be sure you know what is better.
I'm finding our spaceship, getting out of here.
Where is your sense of justice?
Spaceship? They're like medieval orcs.
It does look like a Skyrim mod or something.
Is to get to the cradle of life and leave this planet.
Come closer.
You can't enslave them. You simply own them. And that's what we do since the dawn of our proud empire.
Single player online co-op. Was it like Vermintide or something?
I don't think so.
Or Halo.
Thank you.
Again, this trailer seems like it's like 15 frames per second, though. The Last Oricru. Your choice matters. Okay.
Oh, Prime Matter. Okay.
Prime Matter and Gold Knights.
Doing split screen before Halo.
I've never heard of this game. There's so many games. These are games like we've probably seen at something, some event or something before, like Future Game Show or something like that. No, okay. I don't know.
No.
I don't remember it though.
That looks really cool though.
Yeah, so far the only one that I really remember seeing before is the Eternal Cylinder.
Where did you see that one at?
I want to say it was like an ID at Xbox type of thing.
I swear I saw some YouTuber play that like a year ago, maybe like a beta test or something.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one I'm actually excited about. I might get this and play on my Steam Deck because I don't have a Switch, and this is one that came to Switch that I wanted to play. Triangle Fantasy. Coming to PC.
Triangle Strategy?
Strategy. Sorry, yes, strategy. Triangle Strategy. Coming to PC.
This game's awesome, Mav.
I'm a huge Final Fantasy Tactics fan, so this game like speaks to me, right?
I got this day one on Switch. I know everyone's like, oh, Octopath Traveler. So no, this game's way better than Octopath Traveler.
Yeah, this is a pure tactics game, right?
Yeah, this game was phenomenal. There's multiple endings. Like I was addicted to this game.
I'm gonna get it at some point here and play it on my Steam Deck.
Yeah. Multiple endings because you have to like make decisions along the way. There's like 3 paths based on like and characters. You have to convince characters to like side with you. Like, and if you don't win your arguments, they'll be like, "Too bad, we're outvoting you. We're doing this instead."
So, how many characters do you have on your party when you go into a battle?
It's like 10 or something.
Can you like switch them in and out, different people that aren't in the main group?
You get a lot of characters, and you can switch up the like starting lineup, which is it's like 8 or 10 characters,
right?
And then you can choose where they like spawn on the map. What I like about this is like the verticality. You can go like on top of buildings. And there's one, my blacksmith could make like ladders, and like I'm gonna climb this building, then take away the ladder, and he'll just be up there, like get your archer up there so nobody else can come get you. It's pretty dope.
Right.
Cool stuff.
Does it have a job system, or is it all just do they all have specific like classes
They
already
all
built
have
in?
Yeah, they all got specific roles built in.
A war to end all wars. A war whose victor shall rule Norzelia.
I don't know. It's a very they're fighting over salt. If you want to like
Over salt,
conflict
like
over
so it's like Dune.
Well, that used to be a real thing people fought for. That was like gold back then, or oil, salt, because you could preserve food. History lesson there for you.
You speak of the Hierophant?
You will pay for your grievous sins, Serenoa Wolfort, with your life.
Yeah, I gotta get this.
Yeah, highly recommend.
Looks good.
It is beautiful. I love this 2D.
I promise to do all in my power to see us through this safely.
But play in Japanese, because those English voice actors are not good.
Okay, good tip. All right, so that's $53.99. It was at $60 on Switch originally came out.
Yeah, I paid 60 for it on Switch.
So we'll get a little PC discount here. Next up, everybody, Dragon Ball: The Breakers, PS4, PS5, Xbox One XS, Switch, and PC, October 14th for $19.99.
Let's go.
Yeah, this is this Dead by Daylight game, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a deluxe version for like $29.99.
They've been doing like free like betas and stuff. I know.
Yeah, I think there was a free weekend or something with this last week.
Yeah,
it might still be going on.
The whole idea is you play as the crappy people in the Dragon Ball universe, like the ordinary citizens who can't do anything and you're trying to like get away from Frieza, Cell, like Boo, all the super villains, and then there's like little power-ups around the map that'll give you the powers of like the DBZ characters, like Goku and Trunks and everyone.
Oh god.
Such an
I don't know
how to do it. Sort of like, I don't know, just make your own character go against
Deborah.
I think $20 is an appropriate price point for this game.
It looks awful.
Is that cooler? Or is that Frieza?
No, it's Frieza's.
I'm looking at the like in-game graphics, and it's like, well, I don't know what the hell is going on here. Is that like a choice? You know what I mean? Or like a design choice? Or is like the cutscenes are okay, but the in-game graphics are like really bad.
To really nail the Dragon Ball graphics is the arc system works. They really nailed the Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I want to go to some in-game. Okay, look at this Okay, hold on.
I don't think they had a large budget, so I'm just gonna.
Well,
say
what
that,
was their
so.
budget? Look at this.
Their budget was getting the Dragon Ball name.
Okay. Come on.
Yeah.
This guy, like, he's disproportionate as fuck. That does not. Is that supposed to be Goku?
No, it's just some random dude.
It's just random dude. Okay.
You just play as the regular humans in the Dragon Ball universe.
What is he? Is that a Roomba he's flying on in the sky?
Something like that. Yeah.
That's like it reminds me of the new Hocus Pocus movie when the one was using the Roombas.
Avatar starts the best.
Yeah. Look at
it's,
okay. Guys.
It's pretty much Dead by Day. right, but like in the Dragon Ball universe.
I don't want to shit. I don't like shitting on games too much, but
I don't like to,
but yeah. How about a texture every once in a while? It'd be pretty nice, you know.
Extra.
Hey, like something. You know, there's a folder on your PC that says textures. Open it and put some in this fucking game. It'd be nice.
They need some global illumination. They need a couple other things.
Look at that shadow. That's ray tracing shadow right there, 3-bit.
Let's go with that.
I gotta blow this up. Hold on.
There's no like grass. It's just green.
That would look great if it's on a Switch.
It's a green slab.
It's a timeless art. It looks like it's from 10 years ago, and it'll still be playable 10 years from now.
I just to be fair, I will say like this art style is not very easy.
This is not an art style. This is not art. I don't know what this is. This is a style. Like this is like fucking
going after the show, but like
Mav's going in.
I feel like your art class probably made this game 3-bit.
Wow.
My art class, that's it. It would be way better than this. Okay, but I'm just saying.
It's what I'm getting at. It's like a project for children. It almost seems like.
No, in game design class, when they teach you how to use Unity, they actually teach you how to put fucking grass and trees and shit down. They don't teach you how to make a green slab.
There's 4 trees, and they're all like widely spread out. You can't really throw it in.
Dragonheart Yobi says it looks like a 3DS game. It looks like a 3DS game, but running on a 2DS.
It's just a Switch game.
When got the Dragon Ball license?
It's not just a Switch game.
Yay!
It's on everything.
What's the budget?
They should put this on
what
Game Pass.
budget?
Switch game.
Put this on Game Pass.
Surprise drop.
Oh my god.
It's not me, Google. I'm not saying nothing.
Wow. Oh my god, it is so bad. Look, is that rock supposed to be on the ground? Because it sure as hell looks like it's floating.
Why does it look like the character's shitting his pants?
It's shitting his pants.
That's pretty accurate to the show.
Is he hula hoop? Is he hula hooping while he's shitting his pants?
They all do. When they're
And then the alien creature's behind him's like, no, don't shit your pants. I can't.
Wow.
And then the chicks come in and be like, oh shit, we gotta get you out of here. I don't know.
I just can't.
I can't shit on my chest.
Oh my
I hope this
god.
game's actually really good. Like I want it to be really good, and it just looks terrible.
Sometimes graphics don't matter, but there's a threshold with that. I think you know what I mean. And I can't get over it with like this rock. I can't tell if it's floating or if it's on the ground.
Why is there only one of it?
And his shoes, the toes are
because
turned
that's
up,
that was the texture. You know,
I mean, I could go into why it looks kind of bad, but I'm just gonna hope that it's fun.
If you tell me this game has ray tracing in it, I'm gonna fucking cancel all podcasts going forward. Forevermore. It probably has RTX shadowing, like all this shit, FSR 2.0, fucking DLSS, all this stuff. All you know,
it needs a lot more art direction.
Like it needs about another 3 years in dev time.
Things in the foreground need to be a different value than like if I'm going to the game design speech, which I try not to do because it sounds really nerdy, but things in the foreground needs to be very different in value to things in the background, so that way you have depth, and then that way, like when I'm looking at that rock in the far back, it's the same value as the thing in the front. Then it loses, you know, everything will just look flat, which is fair because everything does look very flat.
If you look closely enough, you can see the line on the mountain to the left too, like splitting the you know, the whatever
And
kind
there's
of fucking
no-
wrap they have for the texture.
There's no bump mapping. So that's another thing. If we're looking at this frame, bump mapping is when you have a texture and then you give the appearance that it's at least bumpy. They kind of just slap the texture on there. So I don't know who's developing this
You know what that rock reminds me of is in SpongeBob when like
Patrick's house.
the
Yeah.
real human hand comes into the screen and like grabs SpongeBob.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
You know what this reminds me of? You know those machine learning things you can do on the PC where you type in different things and it makes a picture? This is like that if you typed in Dragon Ball and shitty game.
Dragon Ball character standing next to random rock.
Right.
Oh man,
That's what this looks like. Okay. Now when they get to the CG, it looks okay. But my God.
Again,
Oh,
I hope the game's awesome.
Hold on.
Oh, don't do it. I know
You know what I'm gonna show 3-bit. It's the elevating man. Here we go. We're gonna watch this. I wish I could do slow motion. God, I wish we could.
As soon as
You can do 25 frames or like a quarter frame a second on YouTube.
How?
You're there.
How?
At the gear where it says HD, I think.
Settings.
yeah.
Yeah, and then go to normal speed, and then 25 is you get a quarter frame every second.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Here, I'm gonna rewind it just a little bit.
What?
You might want to turn off the sound because it's gonna be like.
Okay. Feast your eyes. This is next gen only, everybody.
Do we need to do this much of a breakdown in this game?
I've never seen a game look this bad in a long time.
We don't
Jasper.
need.
Oh
to
my
do
God!
Fire.
Oh, it's like Stranger Things.
I mean, this is supposed to be when she kills Krillin in the anime, but like it's very
I
poorly
gotta see this again.
done.
Whoop.
You killed Joe. You son of a bitch.
Woo! Weep.
If you guys want to see like how you're supposed to do the Dragon Ball style, look at how Arc System works. That's how.
I like how the map also just falls
Wow.
off. It looks like there's no like actual end to the map. It just kind of it's over.
That character looks like TN, but like they just didn't. They started making TN, but then didn't finish him. They're like, it's gonna make Joe.
All right, next up we have.
You'll have to go back up to normal speed.
Oh.
Probably save it.
Oh, mute the music.
Yeah.
We have more games.
There's more games. I told you it's like a lot of games. Hey, this is NHL 23, big release for this week. PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and X and S, everything. And it's $60 last gen, $70 current gen. And that's probably a
4.5-minute trailer, so we probably don't need to watch it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. This is NHL. This is NHL, and it's NHL. So
It's hockey.
Same game, pretty much every year. And we're seeing live action. Is this live action or gameplay? Oh, that's gameplay.
This is
okay. Yeah, that's gameplay.
Yeah, it's gameplay.
It's pretty.
They fooled me for a second at the very beginning.
Yeah, that was the cutscene.
We're getting to the point where it's photorealistic enough that you have to do a double take sometimes.
Yeah, and I really like the NHL games. They play really good.
Yeah.
It's so weird jumping from Dragon Ball to this.
Maybe that Dragon Ball game was the Switch version we were looking at.
Well, 2K used to make hockey games and they stopped.
I really like the NHL Hits series where it's like more arcadey.
Yeah,
kind of like that, but I also this looks great too.
Yeah, this will you can play probably a 10-hour trial of this also, and you can get it in Game Pass eventually because it will hit that when it hits EA Play, but probably not for like 8-9 months. All right, so we got another one coming up here. This next one is Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. Is
Slime Speedway.
PS4, PS5, Xbox One XS, Switch, PC. $50 but $45 on Xbox for some reason.
To be the best, it'll take more than just the car you drive. It's about the crew in your corner and the heart behind.
Have any of y'all played any of the Nickelodeon Kart Racers?
Nope.
Oh, they actually have voice acting in this one. Look at that.
No, that was something missing from those games before.
Nickelodeon, they're not gonna get me again.
I think it's the same people that made that Brawler game too.
Oh,
Yo,
yeah.
hot take. I love Nick All-Star Brawl.
I couldn't.
Do you?
The first
Man,
day I couldn't play.
that's the only game I've ever
I got
returned.
the 100. Oh, I got the 100% on Xbox, and then I got the platinum on PS5 too.
Wow.
Oh man.
Cool.
I like it more than Multiverses. I'm a big Smash Brothers guy, like competitively. So like, I like it.
Like I couldn't even play it on day one. It was like unplayable.
It was broken for us, like completely.
It probably is. Like I know they patched it a lot now.
Yeah.
I never...
Well, they said crossplay was coming Q1 2022. I'm still waiting on that.
So that one's out on the 14th. Then we also got another sports game, because this is the season of sports games. PGA Tour 2K23, PS4, PS5, Xbox One X, NES, and PC.
Mute the music as well.
And got it. Thanks, Fuzz. I know that the last PGA game kind of took the community by storm for a little while. You know, a lot of people started playing it.
Yeah.
I think it was just time for golf to come back. People haven't played golf game in a long time.
Yeah. One thing that's weird, like, I mean, golf games have good graphics, but I always assumed they would, out of all the sports games franchises, they would have elevated the most with golf games, right? Because it's like not a lot to them except just pretty environment and like a couple characters and a ball, right?
You can't even drive a golf cart. It's so fucking ridiculous, unplayable.
Yeah.
I think they should.
People would probably
up
play
their
around
game.
more doing the golf cart than yeah.
Yeah, I know. I would just be sitting there trying to fucking run people over.
You're thinking like that, sort of like the racing genre, where they focus a lot on the cars and the lighting and stuff. They would do the same with golf. I don't know. I don't know if golf is that popular of a. Maybe it is. I don't know how popular is golf. To
in
go
real life, golf is pretty popular.
Yeah,
really.
In Pennsylvania, it's up there, but the stuff that makes it popular, I don't think they would put it in the game, because like the amount of times I've gone golfing, it's like the most fun
It's about
was
drinking
getting
beer and hanging out with people. It's like,
exactly. It's like yeah,
That was
I don't think they
cocaine
want to
hookers.
advertise it's
Michael
a
Jordan?
drinking game.
Yeah, that was Michael Jordan.
what?
That was Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
Wow, that's weird.
probably like a celebrity golf tournament or something.
More golf, more game.
His stats are like
Michael
terrible.
Jordan bonus pack right there. Got pre-order for it.
I got a question. Is there an ultimate team for golf? Like an ultimate team mode or my team mode for golf where you like get cards and stuff?
I think it's more about the clothing or something, or the clubs. Like I think there's like upgraded gloves, upgraded shoes, upgraded clubs, or at least one of the ones I played a while back. That's what it had. But
I always like the mini golf, like arcade games. Those are always, I thought, better with random power ups and
hot
shit.
shots golf, stuff like that.
yeah.
All right. So next up is this is one that's hitting Game Pass day one. Everybody, Xbox One X, the S and PC, October 14th. It's $40. Scorn.
I think this is the one I'm most excited about.
Give me all the phallic energy.
I didn't know it was only $40. I thought it was gonna be a $60 game.
It's on Game Pass. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and to run this game, you need a 3080.
To run it, you need a
Yeah,
3080.
they're really focusing. They're really focusing.
I mean, what do you mean by that? Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna run out my 1660, and they're gonna.
Yeah, do you need it though? I mean, you can play it. It just may not look great.
this game just looks gross.
oh, it
That's
is.
kind of the whole thing, though. Like,
Right.
It's very...
No, exactly.
Everything is squishy.
I mean, you're going to be putting your fingers and hands in lots of holes in this game, and they're going to be wet and squishy.
Even the weapons were like gross.
They have like
looking.
teeth and stuff.
Everything is alive. That's the whole thing of H.R. Geiger. Like the laws are alive before we're alive.
Yeah,
Guns
the
are
whole
alive.
biomechanical is awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it's disgusting, but yeah, I'm excited.
Jasper said to mute this one. So, Star Trek Prodigy Supernova releasing on everything.
Same people make Peppa Pig.
Oh well, I'm out. Then.
What?
So it's gonna be a banger.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
My patrons made me play Peppa Pig for one of our Patreon tiers, and it was the worst experience of my life.
Yeah, the game was so fucking boring. I just did it for the achievements.
I got the achievements, and I was like, I hate this. I hate every moment of it.
Oh, I still can't get over how bad that Dragon Ball Breakers game looked.
We watched like 5 games.
It was so. I honestly, I mean, I don't really point that stuff out too much, but that was like really bad. You know, guys, that was all the games releasing for the week. That's a lot of games. There's a few sports games in there that I would be willing to play. That obviously Scoring I'm going to try out.
Highlights, obviously, Dragon Ball.
That Fueled Up game looked pretty interesting. Evil.
The cylinder one.
Cylinder, cool. Eternal Cylinder. Yeah.
Yeah. That's you know, I'm looking at that now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. A lot of variety, lots of different things. God, I feel like I would want to buy and stream Dragon Ball Breakers just for the laughs. At this point,
chat wants you to do it. So let's make
Matt
play the Dragon
Ball game. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
The stream gets to 52 likes.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
If the stream gets 52.
Yeah.
Oh man. But hey, I appreciate everybody in the chat again for hanging out tonight on FSP. And we had a lot of great conversations, and we also had an awesome guest. Kevin, again, with Save the Game Media, Project X Talk, and all the other shows that you guys are doing now. Keep up the great work, and tell everybody where they can find you, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I had a ton of fun hanging out with you guys. This was great. Glad we could finally do this. But if you want to follow my personal stuff, you can find me at the Muffin Mod. It's a 1 and 7 I and a O and 7 A. We're at Save Game Media over on Twitter because apparently the makes it too long for Twitter. But our channel is Save the Game Media on YouTube. All our podcasts are on all audio feeds. But come over there. We're pushing for 1,000 subscribers. We're almost at 600. I think we're at like 550 or something. So come over there. Would love any support. Hang out. We got tons of content every single day coming out for you. So just shout out to the chat. You guys were awesome. Had a great time, and everyone here. So thanks for letting me come on.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, and all you guys are awesome over there. So yeah, like I said, just keep it up. Doing great things. Really professional, good stuff, I have to say. So you don't really get involved with too much of the nonsense. I get caught up in it a little bit here and there. Yeah. Psycho, mellow fellow from outer space, dude. Thanks everything you do always. Tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
Chat, you guys are fantastic. Great show tonight. Kevin, it was awesome to have you on, my friend. And you guys are doing great things over there. So keep up the good work, and hopefully you'll hit 1K soon enough.
Yeah.
And you guys find me social media everywhere. Psychonauts 8. I am doing a recording of a show Wednesday. So when that all becomes available, I'll link it and post it and go from there. And yeah, find me here Mondays FSP, and Fridays, don't forget, Xbox Ultimate, where we're going to talk about more stuff with all the panel members that we have, and we'll see
what
Xbox brings out this week.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some more news in the next couple of days. 3-bit, where can everybody find you, bro?
Everyone can find me on Twitter at i3bit. Been doing really cool stuff lately. Wrapping up my work on Fable, which it's awesome. And then doing my commercial work, which I posted some. Been doing commercial work for Aflac, and that's been really fun. But you guys can find me there. And Kevin, it's been awesome seeing you pop up as a guest on the show. Make sure everybody in the chat check him out. And wow, my lights just turned off. Everybody can find me on there. And chat, you've been amazing. I'll see you guys on the next episode of FSP. Goodness gracious. FSP.
Right on.
Bye, guys.
Appreciate you, bro. And Fuzzy, the always fuzzy one. What about you? Where can everybody find you?
It was awesome being on here with you guys. Thank you for to everyone in the chat for joining us and interacting with us tonight. Kevin, it was awesome doing a podcast with you. Definitely like your takes on a lot of things. Man, for anybody that just wants to hear my endless ramblings on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter, fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on Breakfast with Boom on 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Double Barrel Gaming, and then later in the evening on Xbox Ultimate Podcast right here on Fun Speculations channel. The Shop Podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday on PTK Blam's channel. Xbox Lunch Break Special on Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then right back here on Monday evening, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on FSP.
Right on, man. Appreciate you. And Jasper, what about you, man? The realist, you're very real tonight for sure. Where can everybody find you, sir? Not feel you. That'd be weird. Where can everybody find you?
Lord Jasper on Twitter, Lord Master Jasper on YouTube. I should have a React video coming out this week. They put out a new Star Trek Picard trailer, so I got to watch that and react to it. I haven't seen it yet. So that's pretty much what I'm doing this week. And then at the end of the month, I got some Call of Duty plans, so stay tuned for that.
Right on. I'm just writing some stupid shit in the chat. Hey, everybody, it was real. Have a good one. You guys take it easy. Thanks again for tuning into FSP episode number 36. Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye. Bye.